tip-off of Arizona basketball. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Arizona the ball. Del Orso works it down left side, drives to the baseline underneath, bounce it to Bryant. Right corner three is up and good. Here comes Bradley with the ball the other way for Arizona. So the team's trading turnovers and then some. Spin move, Bradley in the lane, scores it.
Beautiful spin and finish there by Jaden Bradley.
Cross court over to KJ Lewis, drive to the free throw line, backdoor cut for Del Orso, and he'll put it down for two more. Del Orso with the ball, top of the circle, his pass stolen away. McDaniel on a breakaway, he'll go down and lay it in.
Yeah, once again, there's the turnover bug here at the beginning of the second half. Have to take care of the basketball.
The KJ Lewis knocked away and stolen by Kansas State. A run out the other way, slam it home for Ike Garuke, and a foul. And with 1:39 to go, Kansas State may have a stranglehold on this one.
I am still having nightmares about Ike Garuke and his dunk at the end of that game Tuesday night down in Manhattan. But that was Tuesday. It is Saturday, and it is basketball day in Arizona. The big game in the Big 12. Number 6 Houston, the first place team in the conference, is in town to take on your 13th ranked Wildcats in what is the latest big contest that we will host here in Southern Arizona. 3 straight weeks. Number 3 Iowa State, number 13 Texas Tech, and now number 6 Houston. Does not get any better than this. We have got you till 11:30. Tip-off scheduled today at noon. It is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. My name is David Kelly. I've got my guys with me. Kelvin Efon, the captain from 1998. J.W. Madden is also here as well. And let's let you know what we've got coming up for you over the course of the next 3 hours.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, we'll take a look back at the 73-70 loss on the road at Kansas State Tuesday night. Get you set for Houston. It's your first look at the game, brought to you by Window Depot. We'll shine a spotlight on a cat. Brian Jeffries, the voice of the Wildcats, had a chance to catch up with Moteus Krivas, Arizona's injured center, who is out for the season. We'll see how Mo's recovery is coming. DK with TL is fire this week. I peppered the head coach with a number of questions. You'll hear him talk about Anthony Del Orso. You'll hear him talk about KJ Lewis and his turnovers, among a number of other things. Jeremy Branham, the voice of the Houston Cougars basketball team, will join us with your opponent's scouting report. Who will be that Cougar that gets underneath the Wildcats' skin today? That is your pest of the game, brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. And over at the Desert Diamond Casino Sportsbook this morning, if you look up at the big board, Arizona is an underdog at home against the first-place Cougars. Arizona getting 1.5 points today in this game. And because this is a team that is known to defend the Houston Cougars, the over-under is low, and I mean low, 138.5 today for this contest here in Tucson. Wildcats lost 73-70 on the road, and Tommy Lloyd, after the game, Wildcats could have played a whole lot crisper in that game than they did.
I thought we'd put ourselves in position. We got kind of a good break with a goaltending call they overturned, and then we were at the free throw line. Next thing I know, we're up 7, and we squandered it away. And, you know, you just can't do that on the road. You know, I'm not saying you need to go up 13 at half, but it'd be nice, to, you know, to be in the game and not be down 6 at half. But to our guys' credit, they battled back, and, you know, we took a lead and down the stretch of the game. And I thought we were, like, you know, in a good position to win it, and we just had a few kind of unfortunate plays that happened kind of back to back to back, and then you're kind of, you know, scratching and clawing and fighting for your life. And again, we gave ourselves a chance, you know, even to the last buzzer. So that's a credit to our guys. But you know, we just didn't play good enough. We didn't play smart enough to win anywhere, especially on the road.
Doug McDaniel was fire for the Kansas State Wildcats in that ball game. Their outstanding point guard transfer, and he had 24 points in the ball game. He had a number of one-on-one looks from the mid-range. Tommy Lloyd on what he thought of the Kansas State point guard.
Well, he's talented. He's talented. He's got confidence. He's got courage. He made some big-time plays down the stretch and, hit some really tough shots, and he made them actually look really easy. So, he gets a ton of credit. I mean, he kind of, down the stretch of that game, hit kind of two floater bank shots off the right side, and he made them with ease. So those are big-time plays.
Big-time plays indeed. Could those have been plays that the Wildcats might have been able to defend better than they did?
I mean, those are hard shots. I mean, you're usually living with mid-range twos. I'll have to go back and look at them. You know what I mean? Could we have contested it better? Could we have stayed and did a rear view contest? Should we have switched up a little harder? I mean, I'll have to go back and see the exact plays. But, those were big-time shots by him.
Guys, when you went back maybe and watched the tape again and really just maybe that instance where you've got a talented point guard who can work off the dribble like a Doug McDaniel, how do you defend that late in the game when you know that's the guy they're going to that wants to take shots to try to close a ball game?
Well, first off, it's tough when he already got it going. When a player kind of gets it going, everybody that has played any type of basketball understands this. The defense is at the mercy of the offense. If a guy kind of got it going, to me, the only thing you can do to even possibly try to stop it is double team him real hard when he's coming off those screens, when he's trying to locate those switches so he can attack the different guys he's looking for. Don't allow that by doubling them. But he was just, the shots that he made, though, like Coach said, they were highly contested. The one off the backboard fading away to his right, that's a difficult shot that you think a guy don't even have an angle to even make. So he made some tough shots at the end of the day, but I would have liked to see a double, something like a double team just to switch up the pace of what he was getting.
Yeah, double is one. Then the other way maybe would be a little bit more pack line style of man-to-man. And what I mean by that is, how did Kansas State shoot in that game from three? 5%. So when they're not hitting outside shots, a guy in space, it's like Barry Sanders trying to tackle him in space. It's like one of those kind of deals where you got a guy quick, real shifty with the ball, and a shot maker. Like you said, the bank shot was ridiculous. The scoop shot, it wasn't the shot that was crazy on that. It was the move to get to the scoop. So he clearly had it going. So maybe have some of your players pinch in a little bit more into the paint, kind of limit that open space that he can work inside of, because who's he going to kick out to? A bunch of guys who are not knocking shots down. So it's tough. It's tough when you get a guy like that. That's one of the scariest guys, Kelvin, when they get it going, is a little guy who can get in those spaces.
And I'll tell you what, as a coach, it's tough too, because you feel like we're in the game. We got a chance to win. Why should I double? Why should I switch what I'm doing? We're right where we want to be. And we just need to make a couple more shots, and hopefully they miss a couple more shots. That's what you're thinking as a coach. You don't want to, sometimes you don't want to change your strategy and go double team and allow somebody else to knock down a shot who's been basically dormant the whole time. So I just feel like, as a coach, it's a tough situation sometimes, because really your defense is working. They only had 73 points?
Yeah.
It was more so your offense. We're a team that averages, about 82?
Yeah.
Right. So our offense really wasn't where it needed to be, and we needed to make a few more defensive stops. I always tell guys that we need a few more defensive stops. It's not always the scoring. A few more defensive stops, and that's why I would have tried to possibly make a little adjustment there on him. I would have had to double him. I would have told whoever's guarding him, don't leave him. When they set a screen, I want that guy to hedge, force him to go over the top, and I want that guard to find his way back to him and do a hard double and force that ball out of his hands and force somebody else to beat us at that point.
And real quick, DK, just to be clear, what we talked about in the postgame is that whole team, and Doug in particular, they're hunting mismatches. And so what he was doing is anytime there was a screen, there would be a switch. Who did you see him do work against? It wasn't KJ, right? It wasn't Jaden Bradley. He would get switches and mismatches and guys that weren't as quick a foot to stay up with him. So those moves in the second half were them hunting mismatches. It's that secondary defender whose job is not to guard Doug, who really has to dig in, Kelvin, and find a way to get a stop in those situations.
Some of the things the Wildcats areas of improvement, 17 turnovers, certainly not what you want in a basketball game.
Well, they were handsy. They were handsy and they were aggressive, and we just didn't play strong enough with the ball. We had some problems early with that in the season, and I think we've done a good job addressing it, and we kind of reverted a little bit, but Kansas State gets a lot of credit because they were the one making the plays.
And the Wildcats did not shoot well. Nobody shot the ball very well in that ball game. 3 for 41 combined from three-point land. Arizona 2 for 22. Yikes. That was not good at all.
I mean, yeah, you hope you make more for two, just like I bet they hope they make more than one. I can't tell you why, that happened. And I think both teams were, giving good effort defensively. And, it's just kind of one of those nights, where it didn't go in. But, I'm not going to sit here and dwell on it. I'm not a guy who thinks we got to just – the only way we win is if we make shots. Does it make it easier? For sure. But, that's to me, that's an excuse, that's too easy to use. There's so many ways to win basketball games, and if you're just, sitting there saying, well, it's on the players to make shots, make or miss, to me, that's a little too simplistic.
Well, and guys, we talked about last week the comment that Kelvin Sampson, the head coach at Houston, had made about, at this point in the season, what do teams need most? They need rest. And obviously, again, this conference is in saying that, this conference is built different than what we were used to. I mean, you do have more time in between games in this league than you did certainly in the Pac-12. And obviously now we're going back to a more of a Pac-12 weekend schedule this week because you're going to play Saturday and Monday with only one off day in between. And you've got to travel on that off day playing a home game versus away game. So that is very different than anything that the Wildcats have had to deal with in the past. But when you talk about the health of a team and getting rest, I mean, I think that lended to what we saw in that game Tuesday night. Guys were settling for jump shots, and I think when you're tired, it's a lot easier to fire the ball up from behind the arc than it is to try to continually move the ball and work for ways to try to get inside and make shots.
I do agree with you. At this point of the season, guys are tired. But what we say in sports is this: we're all tired. The other team is tired as well. And what happened was you had a Kansas State team that came in here that is desperate. They're desperate. They're coming off a terrible first half of the season. They came in their second half of the season, and they found a little fire. They beat some tough teams in the conference, and they figured out, play defense. Lock up on defense. Is not about our shots going in. They had a horrible night shooting the ball, and they're not complaining right now because they figured out a way to get it done. They made the stops on Caleb Love. They stopped our guy. And actually, we stopped their guy. Their big man did not have a great day, right? It just came down to, again, it's basketball. Yes, everybody's tired. Everybody's injured. I always tell kids this: the champion will be tired, injured. He won't have any energy. When you see guys win those championships, I always remember the picture of Kobe sitting in the locker room just hugging that trophy, dead tired. To be a champion, you're going to be tired. So you got to figure out a way to get it done regardless. So, as a former player, that's one advantage to me about being a coach. As a former player, you understand how that feel, but you can articulate to the guys that feeling of when you win it, remembering everything that y'all had to go through to get there is what is going to be the memory that you're going to have, that you're going to be able to look in the mirror every time and just smile uncontrollably.
What's funny to me is that when Kelvin Sampson said that, guys need rest this time of year in the Big 12 conference, it's tough. People get a mental image of an ice bath. They get a mental image of maybe a massage, get your muscles right and all that stuff, stretch. But what about maybe more sleep? Because if you want to point to one thing in that game, guys, that you could correct that could potentially give you a different outcome, it's some kind of unregular boneheaded kind of passes, right? I mean, we saw some stretches there where they were throwing the ball, Kelvin, to spots that you wouldn't expect, especially some guys that are really sure. JB, KJ had a couple of bad ones. So that idea of getting your mind right, because it's so tough, because what we're talking about is being physically drained this time of year, age, whatever, but also mentally drained, Kelvin. It's like that idea of how many hours you put in, staying focused. A 40-minute game, a bunch of plays can go one way or the other. You can fight for 50-50 balls, but making sure you make the right read, make the right decisions, maybe cut down those 17 turnovers. Could have been a lot closer to 10 or 12 if you take away some of those bad decision making. And again, tired brain, tired body, whatever, hostile crowd, all those factors lead into those moments in time. But if you could just take those back and make some sound decision making throughout the course of that game, you might get a different result.
Well, and it was Jaden Bradley, obviously, who the highlight we heard at the top, it was the bad pass by Jaden Bradley that led to that run-out dunk for Moby and Kansas State. The Wildcats had a chance to tie the game on 2 occasions late. The inbound with 6 seconds to go did not go as planned.
I mean, you wish JB. It's not desperation. I mean, it's a play, but JB's got to throw a better pass. I mean, like he didn't throw a great pass. I mean, so, hey, I mean, listen, yeah. I mean, in hindsight, yeah, now I would have called something different. But like, I've also, we've worked on that play a lot, and it's something that we feel comfortable running in those situations. It was just kind of a little bit of an errant pass. I mean, it's a high risk play. You're down 3 with 6 seconds to go. A little bit of desperation, and you're probably, they call a timeout, so you're probably anticipating they're going to foul. So if you inbound the ball and dribble it up, they foul you. You have 3 seconds to go. You know what I mean? It's just, it's tough. It's tough. It's a tough decision you have to make as a coach, and apparently I didn't make the right one, or we didn't execute it well.
Is that, Kelvin, as a coach, 6 seconds left, you got to go the length of the floor. Is that the play you would run in that situation, or would you try to get it to one of your guards and have them push it up the floor and try for something other than throwing a high or a low leverage pass that is likely to be intercepted or tipped?
Well, again, in that situation, you practice a couple different things. You practice the long pass because you think you can get it to your tallest guy at the high point the ball and turn and make a pass off of it and get a shot up before they can foul you. So I totally understand, especially being 6 seconds, more than likely they're going to foul you because they know you can take a couple dribbles and get a decent shot off. So as soon as you catch it, they're going to foul you. But I always usually try to do some type of play where I got the guy.
Iowa State didn't. We thought Iowa State was going to foul, and they.
Right, exactly. But it was under less time, though.
Right, 2
so
seconds.
he wouldn't have been able to get, shouldn't have been able to get off those 2 dribbles and get that shot up. But anyway, what I've always tried to do was get a guy a running start, right? So I would start him on the left side and run him to his strong hand and try to have him catch the ball on the move.
Yeah.
That way it's almost have to be like an intentional foul to grab him, right, J-Dub?
Yeah.
Because he's already running and he has the ball, so you're basically fouling him from the back, which would be kind of an intentional foul. Now, a lot of these coaches are smart. They probably have a guy come over and foul him anyway. But I feel like with that one catch, the one dribble, we'll already be at half court by the time they foul us there. I feel like we'll have like 4 seconds left. And now I would already have called a play in the huddle 2 plays because they're going to foul us by the time we get to half court. So we got like 3 seconds left, and I would have a play with some type of catch and pass for a shot, or catch and shoot with one of my guys from half court. That's basically, the best thing we could do. But I would really hope that on that run that we can get a dribble or 2 like Caleb did and launch a shot like that on the move.
The most ironic part about all this, guys, I don't know if you saw the end of the Oklahoma State TCU game the next day, but they actually ran that exact play they were trying to run successfully. So TCU is down by 2. They had the ball after a made free throw, running the baseline. Guy runs the baseline, throws a Grant Hills to Leitner type of thing, and they Valparaiso it. Guy goes up with one hand, tips it to a 3-point shooter who makes a shot, and they win the game. Like literally the exact same type of thing that they were trying to run in that game. It's tough. I mean, JB's a great passer. That might be a little bit better pass. There's no right way to run that play. But I think the idea that with 6+ seconds to go, you're going to get a foul in that situation. So you got to try to get a clean look, and it just didn't happen from that game.
All right, it is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. We're getting you set for the Wildcats, number 13 in the country, against the 6th-ranked Houston Cougars, a battle for first place in the Big 12 happening this Saturday, high noon in the desert. Much more coming up for you straight ahead. We'll begin to get a sense of the Houston Cougars. I'm going to let you hear a lot of Kelvin Sampson this morning. I mean, Kelvin Sampson is he's an old school coach with a lot of old school thoughts, and we've got some funny stuff that he's said over the course of the last few weeks that we'll let you hear as we get through our program today. Along with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden, my name is David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290. Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Hour one of the pregame show is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Post and Results Team with Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, the Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management, wealth well managed, life well lived.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Donna Ogden Nation.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or royalkia.com.
Honey, our yard looks like a jungle. It's full of weeds, and the neighbors are complaining, you know.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using just doesn't work. Not to mention, I don't have the time.
You know, it's not just the weeds. I'm also seeing ants, and the spider, a scorpion. I saw a scorpion, and I think there's a pack rat living in the garage.
I get it.
It's scary.
I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today and get rid of them all.
You're the best, honey.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Are you having sewer and drain issues? Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing is the name to know when your drains don't flow. We do the dirty jobs so you can focus on yours. Leave the drain pain to the experts. Call Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing at 520-492-0748 or picturoxcooling.com.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Hi, this is Mary with Mesquite Valley Growers. Mesquite Valley Growers has the largest selection when it comes to picking out gifts of living plants, flowers, trees, and cactus. Indoor, outdoor for your home, your apartment, living gifts can go just about anywhere. Green, green, green plants of every size to create beautiful spaces indoors. And if you can't decide, you can always give a gift card. Mesquite Valley Growers on Speedway just east of Pantano. Open 7 days a week. Give the gift of living all year round with Mesquite Valley Growers.
Your home for everything Arizona Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290, KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden.
Love will feed it for Townsend. Pump fake. Shot is up and good. Left of the lane.
Way to use the shot fake against the shot blocker in Quainton. It's got him off the ground. Easy 5-foot floater for Townsend.
Time now to take our first look at today's Arizona Wildcats men's basketball game. The first look at the game is brought to you by Window Depot. Lowest prices, biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com. Houston, Arizona. Today in the desert, high noon. A battle for first place in the Big 12 Conference. Number 13 versus number 6. This will be the 13th all-time meeting between these two teams. Arizona has won 6 times. Houston has won 6 times. The most recent meeting, you'll remember it, just 3 years ago in the NCAA tournament, the Sweet 16 in San Antonio. Houston, a 12-point victor that day over the Arizona Wildcats. Only one player left on either of those teams that played in that game.
Yeah, that was like Ben and Christian, Dalen Terry's last game, right?
That was yep, that was indeed. And Arizona, I think, learned a lot of lessons that day about the kind of team that they wanted to be moving forward. In fact, a lot of people believe that was the game that maybe triggered the mentality of what Tommy Lloyd's rosters would look like in the future. So we will see how that plays out here today in the first meeting since that game. Now, you heard the highlight there. Trey Townsend, he has missed 2 ball games in a row due to concussion protocol. What is Trey's status going into today, Tommy Lloyd?
Looks like he was able to practice yesterday, so it looks like he'll be able to go tomorrow.
So he was like, whatever protocol was kind of cleared?
This is what I think they call concussion protocol. I mean, Bruce, I don't know much more than that. I mean, I got a lot going on, so J-Rock and the doctors tell me, and I react accordingly.
What were you missing with him out of besides having an 8th guy? What was missing?
I mean, listen, I still think, we put ourselves in position and it was a winnable game. Trey's a good player. He's a good player, who, he's had some really good games for us. He's had some other games that aren't so great, but, when he's a part of your main rotation, him not playing impacts it. And so just to have, your full allotment of players back that you're comfortable rotating through, I mean, obviously is a good thing.
All right, so Trey Townsend appears to be ready to go. Hopefully today we'll hopefully have an opportunity to see or find out when the Wildcats get to the arena for warm-ups, if that is the case. But again, he warmed up for the last home game and then did not play. So Trey Townsend hopefully back in the lineup today for your Arizona Wildcats, averaging on the season, coming in at 9 points and 4 rebounds per contest. The Houston Cougars, it again has been 3 years since that ball game in the Sweet 16. Tommy Lloyd this week talked about that game from 3 years ago and if it has any impact at all on this game today.
None, other than that I know, what it feels like to play against them, and I know it's tough. So there's no extra motivation. The motivation now, I mean, what's so different than now than then you're in the Sweet 16 playing to the Elite 8, and all this stuff. Now you're in the same conference. You're going to be butting heads all the time. And you know what? We want to be at Houston's level consistently. And we know we got to earn that right. So, you know, I'm looking forward to this game. You know, no matter what the outcome, I'm looking forward to this game.
Well, and guys, we talked about rivalries. What were the rivalries going to be when you get to this new conference? We obviously Kansas, because of the fact that when you look at programs and the history and quote-unquote blue bloods, and Arizona and Kansas are both in that category. Houston has a long history, but then again, they were down for a number of years. Now Kelvin Sampson has them back as a team that is routinely near the end of the NCAA tournament every year. This is definitely one of those games that's on that list of new rivalries for the University of Arizona.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, this is what it's about. And I understand that Coach Lloyd doesn't, this is a new group of guys and everything, but more than anybody, he understands what type of physical team that he needed to go get. That's what the Townsends are about. That's what the KJ Lewises and Walker are about, guys like that, because you knew to be able to compete with the tough teams that you were coming in the conference to go against, you had to have guys like that. So, yes, man, Houston, Kansas, Kansas State, I mean, we can just go Baylor. We can go on and on. And this conference is going to be a dogfight every time. And that's what you live for as a player. You want to be in a conference that has a chance to have Final Four and national champions come from it. So at the worst, when you look back, you can say, I played against UCLA. I lost against UCLA, who was that? Tyus Edney and the O'Bannon brothers. Like,
right.
You can go back and say, hey, we didn't lose to no slouches. Like, and we beat them, and we gave them problems as well. So it's just one of those things as a player, you're proud to be in a conference like that.
Yeah, we always talk about, play for the name on the front of the jersey, not for selfish reasons. But, guys, the name on the front of the jersey might be impactful in that people know of Faisal Majama. They know of Houston's history. It's really the name on the back of the jersey that gets the job done today. And I'll put that in perspective for you. You talk about droughts. From 1992 to 2010, the Houston Cougars did not make the NCAA tournament for 18 consecutive years. So the idea of, everybody knows Elvin Hayes, everybody knows Keem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, those kind of names. But what Kelvin Sampson has done in the last 7 years is take a Houston program that people weren't thinking about on the national stage and turn them into one of the top 5 consistent teams year in, year out during these last 6-7 years. So what Arizona's entering in, I know Houston only just entered the Big 12 last season. It's not like they're seasoned veterans of the conference, but that style, DK, that they bring, like you mentioned, Arizona saw TCU and Houston in that NCAA tournament. That's the level of physicality and intensity that Arizona needs to match if they want to challenge for Big 12 basketball titles. And today, they've seen some physicality already on the season, but today's the biggest test of the year so far.
In addition, the Cougars coming in here, they have not obviously lost all season on the road. Their one loss was at home to Texas Tech. They have not lost on the road. They own the nation's longest active road win streak. They have won 10 consecutive games dating back to just over a year ago. So this is a team that knows how to get it done away from home. They're one of only 3 schools in the Ken Pom rankings, top 10 nationally in both offensive and defensive efficiency. They are 6th in offensive efficiency. They are 4th in defensive efficiency. Can this team be sped up? Because they like to play a little bit of a slower pace. Tommy Lloyd was asked if they can be sped up.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't. I haven't even thought about that at all. I mean, they have really good players. They have good guards. They have good bigs. I mean, I don't know what speeding up would do. I mean, I think that both teams are going to try to play to their strengths. Obviously, we're not going to be turning down fast breaks if we can get them. I'm not expecting to just have them, go right and left. But yeah, no, they're just really good. They're really sound. I mean, obviously, guys. Coach Sampson's one of the best coaches in the game, and he does an incredible job. And when you watch him as another coach, there's a lot of respect there. And I mean, I could go on and on and on about how much I respect him and what they're doing, and I enjoy watching them play. And I know it's going to be a challenge to play against.
They are at 20-4. Are the Houston Cougars on the season? 20-win seasons in each of the last 10 years for Kelvin Sampson. He's the only coach in school history to lead the Cougars to 20-plus wins in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and now 10 straight years. He is a phenomenal coach. Tommy Lloyd talks about his relationship with Kelvin Sampson.
I've gotten to know Coach a little bit, just, kind of being in the Big 12 in the years. And listen, got nothing but respect for him. He kind of, one of his first big coaching jobs was at Washington State, and obviously I was at, in Spokane at Gonzaga all those years. So there's just a little bit of maybe familiarity there. You just both been in the business a long time. So, he's played at McHale. He knows about McHale, so I'm sure he'll have his team ready to go.
Interesting. Obviously, Tommy is from the Washington area. I wonder if he was a fan of Kelvin Sampson's back when Kelvin was coaching in the late 80s, early 90s at Washington State. I'm sure Tommy probably was a follower of college basketball in state back in those days. Kelvin Sampson on what he sees from this year's Arizona Wildcats men's basketball team.
What does Arizona do so well? What are their strengths on this year's team?
I think their strengths is offensively, they're really, really athletic in the backcourt, and they have multiple really good posts. Most teams in the league have good rotations of three, like us with J1, JoJo, and JV Air. But they're able to rotate four guys and stay at a high level. They're extremely well coached. Their plan is suited for that team. Their speed is a factor. Their transition offense is a factor. They get their hands on a lot of balls and create a lot of loose balls and deflections with their athleticism and their speed. And then all their bigs are good run runners, especially Visar. The Iwaka kid is he's great at his job. Great duck-in guy. They drive to duck in. Bradley, Love, KG Lewis, and Delorso. They've got two alphas. Love and Bradley are both alphas, and they do a great job of playing off each other. Bradley's point guard, loves the leading scorer, and he's fearless. He's not afraid of success or failure. Playing at Arizona, they do an awesome job of feeding off that crowd.
Always great to hear another coach's analysis of the team that you have been watching all season. And like I said, I listened to a lot of Kelvin Sampson over the course of the last couple of days. Man, I could listen to that guy talk for forever. He is definitely one of those old school coaches, and we'll let you hear more from him coming up a little bit later. Some funny stuff. I mean, he went at one of his beat reporters this week over a question that he said this guy asks every single. I mean, if you think Tommy goes after Bruce Pascoe, wait till you hear Kelvin Sampson go after Chris, who writes one of the beats for the Houston Cougars.
Did he tell Chris he was going to get a napkin?
Yeah, there was no napkins. No. I don't think there's a Bob Dobbs down in Houston, Texas, but I'm sure they have a restaurant that's very much like that. That is our first opportunity to check in with what's happening today here in Tucson, number 6 Houston and the 13th ranked Arizona Wildcats. And that's our first look at today's Arizona Wildcats men's basketball game. The first look at the game is brought to you by Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindow.depot.com. And don't forget, Window Depot also sponsors Arizona's top rebounding performance every game. It's the Window Depot Glass Cleaner of the game. Might be the Wildcat with the most rebounds. Might be the U of A star with the most impactful boards. Could be somebody from the other team. We'll tell you the Window Depot Glass Cleaner of the game coming up tonight on the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day postgame show. Much more straight ahead. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
If you have old windows, they are probably driving up your energy bills. Upgrade with new windows from the Window Depot. The Window Depot provides unbeatable value and a wide variety of in-stock and custom-order windows to fit your style and budget. With our exclusive SI window brand, made right here in the USA, you'll get a full lifetime warranty, including glass replacement, for ultimate peace of mind. Order online at thewindowdepot.com or visit a location near you and start your project today. Experience the best prices, the biggest inventory, only at the Window Depot. If you have old windows, they are probably driving up your energy bills. Upgrade with new windows from the Window Depot. The Window Depot provides unbeatable value and a wide variety of in-stock and custom-order windows to fit your style and budget. With our exclusive SI window brand, made right here in the USA, you'll get a full lifetime warranty, including glass replacement, for ultimate peace of mind. Order online at thewindowdepot.com or visit a location near you and start your project today. Experience the best prices, the biggest inventory, only at the Window Depot.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Now that winter is really here, cooler overnight temperatures mean that your tire pressure warning light could be on. In most cases, you solve the problem by simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. As always, you can stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low-pressure warning light, we fix those too. Check out jackfurriers.com. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
I love my weekend rides across Arizona. I travel with all the protection I need. Helmet, gloves, leathers, and the Eagle. Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle fights hard to help injured riders across the state. Whether we're cruising through Carefree, slow riding in Sedona, or breezing through Bisbee, they find you doctors, manage medical bills, and get you back on your bike with the most money possible. Injured riding? The bird is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THE-EAGLE.com.
Broadway in Tucson presents the 20th anniversary season featuring 7 Tucson premieres, including Disney's Beauty and the Beast, Hell's Kitchen, Moulin Rouge, The Wiz, Back to the Future, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and more. Secure your signature season tickets today and get the best seats at the lowest prices. Visit BroadwayInTucson.com and secure your 2025-2026 season tickets today.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. 6 model homes are now open to tour at Del Webb at Rockin' K. Here, life is about more than just beautiful homes. It's about the experiences waiting outside your front door at this new 55-plus active adult neighborhood. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Hi, this is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden.
Carter shoots a three straight away. That's over the rim, no good. Krivas, the offensive rebound, laid up and in.
Offensive board for Krivas. Arizona needs to give him touches. That was a nice putback.
Caleb, right elbow, underneath. Krivas, touch shot up and good.
Over the outstretched arms of Malawach. Nice feed from Caleb Love.
Our pregame show, Spotlight on a Cat, is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet. Mo Krivas out for the season for your Arizona Wildcats. He had ankle foot injuries coming into the season from his summer experience with his one of his national teams, and just never really was able to get right. And the decision made to shut him down, for Mo to have surgery to try to correct the issue. That was about 5 weeks ago now. Played in just 8 games this season for Arizona. Did average 8 points and 5 rebounds in those 8 games. Brian Jeffries, the voice of the Arizona Wildcats, had a chance to catch up with Mo Krivas on the recent trip he was with the team as they made their way to Manhattan, Kansas earlier this week. Here's a little bit of Brian's conversation with Mo and how he is recovering from his surgery.
It's been like 4 or 5 weeks in surgery, so I'm able to move it around, start doing some stuff, putting pressure, so everything going fine.
So you have a chance now to kind of sit back and observe, maybe as we'll call you another assistant coach. What do you watch for in practice now when as you sit on the sidelines?
I'm just glad the team is doing really well, and mostly I'm just watching my position players, how they're doing. Still trying to learn some things from other guys.
Sure.
And tell them maybe what they can do better.
So, last year Henry had to sit out due to the injury, and it really helped him grow. I mean, I know if you want to project ahead, do you feel like this year there's some things you can learn that you can put to, better your game even next season?
I think the moment I can start working on the game, I'll have a lot of time, so I think it will help me a lot.
Okay.
Like another off season.
You've got a chance now to observe the Big 12, and I've been asking all the guys about what their impressions of this conference is. You saw the Pac-12 a year ago and the Big 12. What are your views of the Big 12 conference and some of the differences maybe from a year ago to this year?
I will probably say the same thing as everyone. It's way more physical. Referees almost let you fight. The players are bigger, more physical, rebounds, everything. So that's the biggest thing.
Okay. Are there things you do once you're rehab to the point where you're going to be out on the court, or some things that you're already looking forward to in terms of what you want to work on in your game?
Being able to control my moves better, staying on balance, not rushing. Being able to hit mid-ranges and three-pointers.
It's funny. He said, what'd you learn about the Big 12? Well, the refs almost let you fight.
That point.
That's good stuff there, Moteus Krivas. Unfortunate situation for him with the ankle surgery that he had to have. Expected, though, to be back to 100% by the summer. But, guys, he's going to have some ground to make up in this scheme now with the emergence of Henry Vesar in that position at the 5.
Yeah, it's going to be a log jam. I mean, you expect Tobey to be back. In this new day and age,
right?
with the
You never
NIL,
know,
man. You never know. it's going to be a logjam at that position, man. I mean, that's what three guys that we for sure know is coming back. Townsend's leaving.
And here's the question: obviously Henry Vesar has emerged. Has he emerged enough that you think he puts himself into the professional picture after this year?
I think with one more year. I mean, yes, with his size and length and some of the abilities that he's shown, it's going to be up to the way he finished this season on if it's top 20 type of situation. But I think with one more year, and I think when you anticipate going into that year, how can't you want to start him? And with all the things that he brings to the table with athleticism and length and shooting ability, all the things that he brings. So, you know, and then Krivas, how do he accept coming off the bench? Mm-hmm. Like that would, you know, I don't know the dynamic on that. I would love to see, you know, how that works.
Vesar's not a 5, though, either. Like, Vesar is really a 4, and because Carter Bryant had to slide up to the 4, you got to have more minutes for Carter at the 4, so therefore Vesar had to play, and then Mo goes out for the season. So I think ideally, because of the perimeter skills and the style of play that he brings, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Henry Vesar post up. And what I mean by that is that in Tommy Lloyd's offense, they always have a guy put his butt on the block and be able to establish scoring in that post to open up driving lanes and open up three-point shots. So I think Henry Vesar has played 5, you know, almost exclusively this season, right, with the injury to Mo and Carter at the 4. But at the next level especially, Kelvin, I mean, I don't know that he's going to be guarding Joel Embiid or Joker. Right? Like, that's not the style of player that he is. So, but, yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I heard Kelvin say this week was the thing that made Arizona so great was they had 4 bigs they could rotate. And most teams might have 3 if they're on the higher end, 2. Most teams have 2 bigs they can rotate. Arizona's got 4 right now, and that's obviously with Townsend out of concussion protocol, with Mo Krivas out for the season. They would have had 5 healthy bigs they could rotate. So, clearly, that's something with the high-low we saw the first 2 years exclusively. That's something that coach is going to really recruit towards. So as far as log jams at the big position, I think ideally he probably wants 4 guys, right, that he can rotate into the 4 and the 5 spots just to put so much pressure because that's just the style of ball that he seems to want to play.
When you look at, obviously, the bigs for Arizona, and as it is now, we have begun to see a little bit more of Toby Awaka and Henry Vesar playing together. Tommy Lloyd on more of that dynamic as his team moves forward.
I think they played fine together. I don't think there's a lot of crazy adjustments. I think they both just need to play the way they play and play the way they're comfortable playing within the system. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lineup that if I think, you know, we can throw it out there and it can help us in you know, segments of the game, we'll do it.
And, again, we've seen them together at times, not necessarily all the time, but they have been out there for a number of minutes. Toby Awaka on what he's kind of seen from Henry and what he likes about when they are on the floor together.
Yeah, I would say so because he just draws so much attention. When he's setting the screen going for a lob, you know, that big man is going to help over, which is, you know, sort of opens me up for duck-ins. You know, the defense is more spread out attached to him because he's a three-point shooter. So when I get the ball in the post, you know, I have more room to operate. Those guards aren't sinking down as much.
Are we seeing, though, when they're out there together, does it still look like they're trying to figure that part of it out? Are you seeing things that maybe they're missing, opportunities that they're missing at the offensive end of the floor?
No, I mean, we haven't seen a lot of minutes with them on the floor together.
Right.
But for the time, I thought that they did play well together offensively. And I thought in that particular game, defensively, they were fine because the team wasn't making threes, right? But when you're playing most of these teams, there's no way you'll be able to play those two together with teams that could actually shoot the ball. Right, because they're going to stretch them out so far, and they're going to get in those mismatches where you caught how he got caught in the mismatches where they were going one-on-one and beating them. Well, that's the thing that I worry about. Even if you think about Krivas and Vesar playing together next year, who's going to guard those little quick guys when they get caught in those situations? That's the reason why Townsend is playing the 4. That's the reason why Carter Bryant is playing the 4, because you got to almost have guys with guard defensive abilities to guard most of these stretch 4s that they're calling them.
Yeah, I mean, how many guards does Baylor play? How many guards does Houston play, Kelvin?
Right. Everyone
all
at least
guards.
3,
it's all
if
guards.
not 4.
And again, when you look at this situation, there was one play in that game, happened late, and the game was tied where Henry got the ball kind of right near the foul line and tried to dump it down to Toby Awaka. That Kansas State was able to turn that into one of the 17 takeaways that they got into the ball game. Still maybe trying to figure each other out in that instance. Tommy Lloyd broke down that particular miscue by the two big men.
I mean, Henry has the ball. They fall down. He's at 8 feet. I mean, he's got a great floater. Tobey's probably the best offensive rebounder in the country. Shoot it. And let Tobey tip dunk it. Instead, he throws it in there, and Kansas State has quick, athletic, quick twitch guys, and they go up and get their hands on it. It ends up being a broken play. I mean, that one kind of stands out to me because I think we had a 2-point lead on that one.
The issue, Kelvin, for me here in that situation was Henry Vesar operating 8 feet off the baseline side of the rim. And I don't know if I've ever even seen him in that position to make a playmaking decision, right? Like, he might catch from there and take a shot. He might catch from there and drive to the basket. But in that scenario, he caught and put the ball down, drew defenders, and was trying to make a little pocket pass to Tobey. But I don't blame – I mean, again, that could have been a lot cleaner, but – Kelvin, when you put a player in a position in real time and game-winning type scenarios who's never really been in that spot, that's a tough ask.
That's definitely a tough ask, and that's why, I'm with Coach on that one. You should just take that shot.
Yeah.
You should just take the shot, right? If you miss it, you got one of the best offensive rebounders right there to get it and go right back up with it. I understand because it's basically high-low. Whenever a big gets the ball, he looks for his buddy, but you have to understand the spacing of it. You either have to do it from 15 feet or 19 feet away.
Yeah.
8 feet away is just not it. You can't even think about making that pass. You have to know that the help side defenders are ready and just like wolves ready to attack that. So you have to get the shot up high where you're playing too high for the, I guess you could say, where the giraffes are playing, where the wolves are too low to get to it.
That might be the theme for the week, guys, is players who Coach Lloyd wants to take a shot who are instead deciding to play make.
Yeah, we're going to hear all about that coming up in DK with TL in our next segment. But that is a spotlight on the injured center for Arizona, Moteas Grivas. That's today's Spotlight on a Cat. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Are you having sewer and drain issues? Pixrock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing is the name to know when your drains don't flow. We do the dirty jobs so you can focus on yours. Leave the drain pain to the experts. Call Pixrock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing at 520-492-0748 or pixrockscooling.com.
Hi, this is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
If you're feeling overwhelmed by the thought of a home remodel, don't stress. The Window Depot is here to help. At the Window Depot, we're your one-stop warehouse for everything you need for your next remodel. Windows? Check. Doors? Got it. Cabinets, countertops, and everything in between, you'll find it all here at the lowest prices. Whether it's a kitchen, bathroom, or whole home makeover, our experienced designers are ready to bring your dream home to life, all at unbeatable prices. Find a location near you or shop online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or royalkia.com.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the Diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Tohono O'odham Nation.
The cold Arizona nights are here. Is your furnace ready? For just $59, Right Way is offering a complete system tune-up, ensuring your furnace runs efficiently to keep your home comfortable all season long. Routine maintenance is key to avoiding costly breakdowns. And with over 9,000 five-star Google reviews, you can trust Right Way to get the job done right. Plus, we'll include a free carbon monoxide test for your peace of mind. Call Right Way today at 520-640-2665 or visit us at rightwayac.com for your $59 complete system tune-up.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
Stars are shining down on Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle has more than 2,200 five-star Google reviews from across Arizona. Like these.
They go that extra mile to let you know they care. A wonderful experience.
They treat their clients like family, and their professionalism is the best in the business.
They made sure I got a great offer. Like a bulldog, they fought for me.
Well said, everyone. After any accident, remember, the bird is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THEEAGLE.com.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Over angle left, it goes to Lewis. Back top for Love. Squares up for a three out there. It's good again. Caleb Love dialed in as he was in Tempe. 11 first half points. Ties the game at 39.
Let's take a look at the Right Way rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, hour number 2 of our pregame show. We've got you till 11:30. And then we'll hand it off to Brian Jeffries and Ryan Hansen, who will have the call of today's game between number 6 Houston and 13th ranked Arizona. Coming up in this hour of the show, DK with TL, sponsored by no one. But there's some hot stuff in there today. Looking forward to hearing from the head coach. Had a chance to chat with him yesterday. Jeremy Branham, the voice of Houston Cougars basketball, will join us. Your opponent's scouting report is brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Best of the game will be that Cougar that gets underneath the Wildcats' skin. We'll tell you who that is. Also, we'll let you hear from Kelvin Sampson. Some funny stuff. He goes after his beat reporter. He says he's not a doctor. And he's old. A lot of good stuff from Kelvin Sampson. Troy Hutchinson is your view from courtside. He writes the lead beat for Go AZ Cats. He'll be at the game today, and we'll hopefully get to him after he is inside the arena, and we can see if he's put some eyes on Trey Townsend and what's happening on that situation. You heard Caleb Love, obviously, there at the top. The Wildcats sitting in second place in this new conference of theirs, the Big 12, a game behind the Houston Cougars, who are coming in here. Caleb Love, does he have some impressions of the Big 12 after playing in the Pac-12 last year and coming from the ACC?
It's as physical as advertised, for sure. Obviously, you watch it on TV and you'd be like that wasn't a foul call. So the physicality is one thing, and then it's always going to be somebody in the paint, which what we call as alpha is always going to be a big guy in the paint. So there's no free layups, no free dunks. So I think mainly just the physicality and, the defensive intensity that, the teams play with.
It's way more physical, like referees almost let you fight.
Oh, I'm glad. That's exactly where I was going with that. Right there. Mo Krivas was maybe the SOT of the year right there. It's almost like the refs let you fight. Oh, man. Jaden Bradley, what are your impressions and maybe some of the differences between the Pac-12 and the Big 12?
Definitely physicality. It's tougher. The refs let a lot of calls go, good or bad, and we just got to be able to play through those. Pac-12 is more, get up and down and, not as physical, but, it's definitely, perks of being more physical and the refs let stuff slide.
So where do you think that comes from, guys? Is that just the guys that are reffing in this conference are different, or is that an edict from the top that says allow these kids to play basketball?
It's dangerous. This is a very difficult question to ask with Kelvin here. Because I'll say this, there are so many skilled players that coming out of LA every single year. Go look at the NBA All-Star rosters, right? So many guys from Los Angeles. When you can run free and play that pretty brand of basketball and get on that top 10 highlight reel, it makes the fans go crazy. People love it. The choice to allow that freedom of movement, you can't hold my guy because that's going to be a foul and your guy's going to foul out if you keep doing that every single play. I want my guys to be able to run free, make big highlight plays. Texas, Kelvin, football-centric. Oklahoma, a lot of the states that the Big 12 occupies, Florida even, are so football-centric. I'm not here to dismiss the skill level of basketball in those states. I just will say that if you're going to compete with those NBA all-star guys, I mean, we're talking Paul George, James Harden, these kind of guys come out of L.A. If you let them run free, Kelvin, they're going to beat you. But if you don't, and the Big 12 has, I don't know if it's a group from on high like you just asked, DK, or if it's a group decision, but they clearly want to bring physicality into the game via the referees not calling ticky-tack fouls and allowing players to be more physical, allowing those little bumps, those little holds, bumping people off their driving lines and things like that. And like JB just put it so well right there, he said, for better or worse, it's not bad or not good. It's just a different style of basketball. And guess what? It's where Arizona is now. So you have to play this style. You have to adapt to that style or else you're going to be left behind. I don't think, Kelvin, to me, California brand of basketball, West Coast or whatever, versus, the South is any better or worse. It's just completely different styles of ball.
Yeah, and I'll say this from my experience. What I think the difference is that in the South, you have more football playing guys that play basketball. On the West Coast, most of the guys I meet only play basketball. They don't play football. So what ends up happening is you have bigger physical guys playing from middle school on up. We were bigger and stronger. There was not a lot of thin guys playing. So naturally, the game is going to be more physical. So it's going to be a million whistles because the ref has to call everything of all the touching. So I think that's the way it got started. You have more physical type players playing the game. If you just look at all these teams that are playing in the Big 12, 250 pounds, 6'7", guys that could be totally playing defensive end in football. And I'll also say this, a lot of our good basketball players never were allowed to play basketball back in the day. They all had to play football, right? So it was, to me, it was just that type of thing that you were dealing with. You're just dealing with a football. You look at every school in that conference are basically football teams in football areas. So just more physical type guys that play two sports.
It's also very relatable because anybody who's been to any pickup game. So I never played football, but I've played thousands of pickup games with football players involved. And if you do a little inside-out dribble move, hezzy, and you get by them and make them look flat-footed, you know what happens the next time you come down? You wind up on the ground because you can't do that to them. Don't make me look silly. I'll put you on the ground. So there's an extra level of physicality You're out here practicing your hezzy. I'm out here pancaking people. Let's have our worlds meet together. And that's pickup games all over the country.
And I got to say to DK, I'm still apologizing to guys from the rec center when I was 19 and 20 and 21 and I was knocking them down. And I mean, in the rec center, DK, I mean, playing regular basketball, if you went by me, I knocked you down. That's how we play, especially when what you call where you can't foul out. What? Take it out at the top. Let's start over, buddy. And if you keep trying, you're going to keep getting fouled.
Yeah, DK, you know who wins in a pickup game when there's no refs? The football players.
They win.
Every time.
Win. And that's the attitude that made me one of the top defensive players in the nation. You know, when I got here, I was willing to use my 5 fouls strategically, right? And so it's just one of those things. You just taught physical play right from the start. And again, yes, I always thought that California had more of a freedom of play style, right? But again, that Midwest type of area, just a more physical game because you had a lot of the football players coming over, after football season to the basketball team.
Tommy Lloyd, he has been in and taken his team now into a number of these Big 12 environments, Morgantown and where else have we been? Cincinnati and Kansas State and Oklahoma State, and he loves every single one of those opportunities to go and play in hostile territory in the Big 12.
Love it. Let's move on. Man, I'm love the competition. Love how every night's hard. I've never a guy that's asked for things easy, so bring it on. I can't wait. It was an awesome atmosphere. Can't wait to come back here and play again.
Guys, real quick, since we're talking about the difference between Big 12 and Pac, I did do the math, and I got something to tell you. The last 3 seasons in the conference, do you know how many top 25 opponents Arizona faced in conference? So what's that, 18 games in the Pac?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last how many years?
The last 3 years. So last year alone, one. Washington State was ranked 21st when they met on February 22nd.
Okay.
That was it. They didn't play any other top 25 teams in conference last year. 2 years ago, they played UCLA twice, once ranked 5th, once ranked 4th. 2 years ago. 3 years ago, UCLA and USC, all 4 matchups, those Southern California schools were ranked. That's it.
Right.
So let's do that quick math. That's 7 in the last 3 seasons in the Pac. Do you know how many top 25 teams Arizona has or will face this year? 8 top 25 teams in conference on the schedule this season, 7 in the Pac in the last 3 years combined.
Right. Oregon was never ranked during any of those years.
Not the last 3 seasons.
Wow.
And I was going to say, well, speaking on what Coach Lloyd has just said, that's a big difference for him coming from Gonzaga.
Yeah, St. Mary's in San Francisco, right?
Yeah. And that's lightweight. I mean, no disrespect. I love St. Mary's, what, Coach has done there. I got a good relationship with him. He's actually from Mesa. A lot of people don't know that, the coach at St. Mary's. But anyway, but didn't really see a lot of stiff competition until he got to either it was in his non-conference or in the actual NCAA tournament. So this is new to him. This is new to him, having to face every night this type of competition, and it's great to see that he's embracing it as a competitor would.
All right, it is time for DK with TL, sponsored by nobody. My questions to the head coach of your Arizona men's basketball team. If you want to get on board and sponsor this weekly, do so. 520-887-1000. Give us a call and find out how you can do that. Here's what I asked Tommy this week.
Tommy, you didn't give Delly a whole lot of minutes in the second half. How do you gauge when you've got a player like him that's giving you some aggressiveness at the offensive end, but at the same time maybe is struggling at the defensive end?
He's got to play better, and Delly knows that. We've talked about it. We need Delly shooting. We need Delly to be a catch-and-shoot player. I don't need Delly playmaking as much. I need Delly. I think one of the best things he can give us is an influx of shooting, and he has done that in stretches, and now – he's at a pivotal moment in his career. As a developing player, you're at a higher level. The stakes are high. You got to figure out what you got to do to be effective and thrive at this level. And Delly can really shoot the ball. And obviously, shooting isn't one of our strengths overall as a team. It's one of his. Please, give us more shooting.
When you look at, obviously, KJ and all that he gives you defensively, but at times has turned it over in some unusual situations, is that just a matter of a young guy, maybe the game speeds up at times too much for him and he makes those types of mistakes?
We probably could look at every turnover independently and try to assess it. KJ's a really good player. And listen, guys make mistakes. One thing KJ consistently does, he outperforms his mistakes. And so there's no such thing as a perfect basketball player. It just doesn't exist. There's not a perfect coach, not a perfect person, definitely not a perfect basketball player. But when you have somebody who plays with great effort and impacts the game in so many ways, and they make a few mistakes, you're living. And obviously we're coaching him and trying to help him with some of those mistakes. He's listening to us, trying to fix some of those mistakes. But KJ outperforms. Any negative thing he does here and there, he outperforms it every game.
Tommy, you said you were going to go back and kind of look at some of the ways you guys defended Doug McDaniel there in those ISO situations. Did you see anything that you could have done better there defensively?
I mean, sometimes you end up in these stay switch scenarios. Maybe we could have made a little bit better decision here and there on some of them. The other teams have good coaches too, and they're going to put you in situations where their talented players can make plays. And he just ended up in a few situations down the front. And it's kind of tough if you have a guy that can make kind of a running 15-foot bank shot from the right side of the floor. I mean, it's one of those things I don't know. I mean, what would you do differently? Because that's probably a shot you're living with. That's a tough, contested 2-point shot. Guy made it. We move on to the next play. You know what I mean? And I guess I could go back and say, man, we should have trapped that. But you also want teams to shoot tough contested twos. They're going to make some of them, and he made a couple of them in a row. I thought we gave up a few too many layups in some of our coverages, that we could have been better at and made, better decisions. And guys were just in decisions, kind of help or stay switch, scenarios, and they just, we probably could have coached it better, and they probably could have made a little bit better decision in that moment.
After the Tech game, you talked about how, Jaden's not necessarily looking at you all the time. Sometimes he's out there calling plays on his own, and he talked about a particular play where, Caleb made the dump down to Henry for the dunk. How often is that happening where he's initiating?
How often it's happening? I mean, JB, listen, he and I have a good line of communication in those games, and, for the most part, if, I'm telling him I think we should run something, he runs it. He'll periodically come to me and say, hey, what about this, or maybe it's a tough moment in a game. It's loud. It's hard to communicate from the sideline to the floor. He has the ball in his hands. He's being pressured. So, there's not a time to look at coach. You know what I mean? So in those moments, he's been great. And just kind of getting our team organized and doing things that winning point guards do.
I know we've talked a lot about, the free flow aspect versus running sets. In those instances where you get into the droughts for minutes, is that an instance where maybe we need to see more sets run at that particular point offensively?
Listen, it's one of those things, when you coach basketball, you can't live in revisionist history because the games keeps coming at you. There have been times I've called a play and it sucked. There's been other times I haven't called a play and it's like magic. There have been times I haven't called a play and it sucked. There's been times I've called a play and it's worked really good. So, I don't know. I mean, I think that's just the game. The game. I mean, you're not. The beautiful thing about this game is there's a lot of gray, and for you guys, you try to make it black and white. I understand that. It's simple. When you coach and play it, there's a lot of gray. You have to be good in the gray, and so you know what? You're gonna live with some good things, and you're gonna live with a lot of tough things too. You just gotta keep going. The game doesn't stop. You guys can make the game stop because you're analyzing it after. In the moment, it doesn't stop. So, you make decisions. Sometimes they're regretful. Sometimes they're genius. And that's every coach. That's every player. And the best ones just keep going and probably incrementally get a little bit better at making better decisions. So that's how I'm approaching it.
All right, that is the head coach, Tommy Lloyd. We'll have to get back to discussion later on everything that he had to say there because he did say some good stuff this week in terms of Anthony Delorso, KJ Lewis, and not running plays when the team gets in a drought. That is DK with TL. It is sponsored by no one, so jump on board and sponsor that my opportunity to question the coach every week. 520-848-1290 is our phone number if you want to get in. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Text us at that number, 520-848-1290. Coming up next, we're going to find out a little bit more about the Houston Cougars. Jeremy Branham is going to join us. He calls the games on the Cougar Radio Network. It is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. I'm David Kelly, along with Kelvin Ifan and JW Madden. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Now that winter is really here, cooler overnight temperatures mean that your tire pressure warning light could be on. In most cases, you solve the problem by simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. As always, you can stop by any of our 14 area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low pressure warning light, we fix those too. Check out jackfurriers.com. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rockin' K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or royalkia.com.
Looking to upgrade your home? The Window Depot is your go-to spot for Milgard windows and patio doors. Select from a variety of styles, including aluminum, vinyl, or fiberglass, to start your journey to a brighter, more beautiful home. The Window Depot has Milgard windows in stock, ready to go home today, or their team can help you with a special order. Whether you're looking for energy efficiency, aesthetic appeal, or custom solutions, they've got you covered. Build the home you deserve with Milgard windows and doors from the Window Depot. Visit thewindowdepot.com to find a location near you.
Looking for unlimited gameplay all season long? Dave & Buster's is introducing the all-new Winter Season Pass. You can pick your perfect pass and play like a Dave & Buster's VIP with unlimited access to over 140 games and deals on sips and bites. Sign up now and take advantage of this incredible deal now through February 28th. Don't forget to stop in Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for lunch specials and grab the all-new Winter Season Pass. There's nowhere better to eat, drink, play, and watch than Dave & Buster's, the best place outside the stadium to see the games this football season.
At University Termite and Pest Control, we handle all your pest problems. Maybe a few family ones, too.
Wait, you can even take care of my in-laws?
I always tell people we'll take care of anything, even in-laws. You just have to dig the hole.
Okay, but seriously, is it okay for our pets?
Absolutely. It's okay for pets, kids, anything you want to live, will live.
Call us today at University Termite and Pest Control. We'll squash those pests and enjoy it.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
It's cold outside and you need safe, reliable heat for you and your family. For a limited time, Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing is offering a free furnace with the purchase of a qualifying HVAC split system. For fast, reliable service, call Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing at 520-492-0748 or picturoxcooling.com.
Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Your home for everything Arizona Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290, KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden.
Crossover, driving right side of the lane to the hoop. 2 and a foul. What a strong finish by Milos Uzan. Uzan with 5. Uzan the crossover. Down to Arsenault for the slam. What a find by Milos Uzan. And now Arsenault's in double figures. The Cougars have 5 players in double figures tonight.
Wow, that is great.
Time now for a look at today's Wildcat opponent. The Scouting Report is brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier, since 1960, we're here to get you there.
It is the Wildcats and the Cougars, number 6 versus number 13 at high noon here in the desert. Pleased to be joined by the broadcaster for the Houston Cougars, Jeremy Branham, joins us now. And Jeremy, I was joking with Wyatt Thompson prior to the Wildcats game against Kansas State the other night. I was like, I'm already worn out from all these big games every single night in this conference. It has turned out to be exactly what we thought it was going to be with our arrival here. How's that being viewed from the teams that have been here for a while? Just the arrival of the Arizona and the other Four Corner schools.
Yeah, vast experience of the Big 12 that Houston has. 1 year going into this one. It's a much different look to the Big 12, certainly. It's a lot of fun. Like, there's a lot of ways to describe it, right? It's fun. I mean, you get a number 6, number 13 team doing battle. You mentioned high noon in the desert. That's a lot of fun. I don't know if the coaches and the players, share that same sentiment, though, especially with the 20 games. I've heard a lot of the coaches in the league talk about the 20-game conference season as being the grind. And I think at some point they're probably going to go back to 18, try to lighten that load a little bit, ease up on everybody. But, no, it's a lot of fun if you're a viewer, if you're, doing radio, calling the games. I'm a big fan of the Big 12 when it comes to the basketball side of things.
All right, let's talk a little bit about this Houston team that the Wildcats are going to see here. When you look at, obviously, the fact that Emmanuel Sharp back in the lineup had missed a couple of games, second leading scorer on this team, averaging 12 a game. How important was that to get him back in there?
Yeah, important to get him back, but also important to get him right. For Houston to hit their ceiling and to be as good as they're going to be or want to be, they need to be as close to 100% as possible. And he's been having this foot sprain that's been bothering him for a long time. And they felt that was just the right time in the schedule because of the grind that is the Big 12. They felt it was the right time to give him a week off, get him off of that foot, see if that could get him closer to 100%. And I think it did from a health perspective. And I think it also helped Terrence Arsenault a lot. Arsenault is a high potential player, a pro prospect that he's played, but he hasn't played those starter minutes. And the fact that Emmanuel missed those 2 games, I think helped in 2 fronts. It helped Emmanuel try to get as close as he can get to getting right. And then it also got Terrence a lot of playing time, a lot of confidence. He played well in those games, which was very big. So it could be one of those things where it helps your ceiling in 2 fronts. Emmanuel getting right and then also trying to lift a high potential player.
It is your scouting report, and it is brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Jack Furrier since 1960, here to get you there. We are chatting with Jeremy Branham. He calls the games for the Houston Cougars radio network. And Jeremy, L.J. Cryer, another outstanding offensive player on this ball club. But what's his game about? What is kind of the style of play for LJ?
He's a shooter. He'll shoot the 3 ball. One of the best in the Big 12 at 3-point percentage. He's top. In fact, he's second. I have my notes in front of me. He's one of the top 3-point makes per game as well. A lot of defenders will try to chase him off the 3-point line. Houston's good at getting them looks, so that'll be a fun game within the game. How does Arizona defend Cryer behind the 3-point line? And then Cryer, he can be streaky with his game inside the 3-point line. He's got a runner he likes to go to. Some nights it's falling really well. Some nights it's not. I imagine Arizona wants to chase him off the 3-point line and try to get him inside. But speedy, quick, very good defender, underrated defender. You know, he's a kind of shorter, stocky, very athletic, but great shooting first and foremost for sure.
And you look at, I mean, we always like to kind of look at, okay, where we know where we're getting our transfers from, where are they getting their transfers from, because that's a part of this thing now. And you guys have been able to get player LJ, obviously, came over from Baylor, and Milos Usan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, from Oklahoma. What's he added as a transfer to this lineup?
Yeah, Milos has been really good for Houston. He's been steady. I think it took him a little bit to learn the culture. This culture is something that Houston hangs their hat on. You know, they have built a great culture. They have been one of the winningest teams in college basketball for the last 6-7 years. They played the Big 12 for the first time last year, had a lot of doubters, won the Big 12 regular season, currently have a game lead. They believe that they're good because of that culture. And I think the point guard position always is magnified when you're talking about a culture in college basketball. And if you look at point guards that Sampson has had at Houston prior to Milos, he had Jamal Shedd, who learned from Dejan Jarreau, who was a Final Four point guard when Houston made it, who learned from Galen Robinson. So Uzan's really the first starting point guard that hasn't learned from somebody above him, that hasn't had that upperclassman that kind of showed him the ropes. So early in the year, you would see a little bit of that. And he was good player, but not really a Houston Cougar point guard quite yet. Close, getting there, but not quite yet early in the year. I think once conference play has started, he's been a Houston Cougar point guard. He's been incredibly steady, one of the top assist guys in the league, one of the top assist-to-turnover guys in the country. He's a good shooter. He's long, really good defender. He's been really good for Houston. And you mentioned the transfers, too. Cryer from Baylor, who was recruited by Houston whenever he was coming out of high school at Morton Ranch in the Houston area. Uzan, who the Cougars played last year whenever he was at Oklahoma. A lot of the transfers that Sampson brings in, there's usually a tie there, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time to find that connection.
Jeremy Brannon is our guest. He is the play-by-play man for the Houston Cougars basketball team. It is your scouting report, and it's brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Jack Furrier, since 1960, here to get you there. You know, a lot of people, Jeremy, point to the game that these two teams played in the NCAA tournament a couple of years back as being maybe the moment that kind of has carved out what this Arizona roster was going to look like moving forward. And that was the need to be more physical, because the Cougars absolutely beat up the Wildcats in that Sweet 16 game. Has that always been a staple of Kelvin Sampson's teams, physical clubs that are very difficult to deal with?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's one of the pillars of a Kelvin Sampson program, is that they want to be the toughest team on the floor. They have a saying that the toughest team wins. You look at some of the defensive metrics over the years. Houston's at or near the top of every important defensive metric. Whether it's points allowed per game, whether it's opponent field goal percentage, whether it's the KenPom defensive efficiency. That's something that they hang their hat on. They hang their hat on their offensive rebounding, which I think requires toughness. They also hang their hat on not turning the basketball over, which maybe takes that mental toughness. I was looking at the box score of that game earlier today, in fact, and there's only one holdover from that game when those two teams played in San Antonio in the Sweet 16 a few years ago. And it's Juwan Roberts. He's the only player in that game for either side that played in that game in San Antonio a few years ago.
Yeah, 1,000-point scorer, Juwan Roberts, a guy that's been around your program for a long time. Well, what does he mean to be to the Houston Cougar fan base, and what he's been able to do during his time there?
Yeah, everything to this program specifically. There's been a lot of great players in Houston Cougar basketball history. You go back to Elvin Hayes, who was the greatest Houston Cougar basketball player in history. Look at his college numbers, stack them up with the others. But Phi Slamma Jamma obviously had its moments. And now you have the Kelvin Sampson era, and Juwan Roberts is the winningest Houston Cougar of all. You've had Clyde, you've had Akeem, you've had Elvin, you've had Otis Birdsong, you've had Jamal Shedd. Juwan Roberts has more wins than all of them. Now, that speaks to the teams he's played for. It speaks to him playing for a long time as well. But 136 wins. He and Kelvin have a great relationship. He's taken on that captain role this year with Shed being gone. And when you're looking at, those are the tangible stuff, right? On the floor, he's also taken his game to another level in conference play. Houston will go to him offensively. They like to see early in games what the opposition's going to do whenever they dump it into the post for Jawan. And if you play Jawan one-on-one, they'll let Jawan go to work and see if he can beat the defender one-on-one. If you send a double team, he's a very good passer. He's a good defender. He's a good rebounder. Kind of the glue guy for the Houston Cougars.
And we were talking obviously a little bit about Kelvin and his days going back to Washington State and going up against him in those years for Arizona. What do you enjoy most about working with him?
Probably his wisdom. There's a lot. I would start with his wisdom, though. He starts to tell these stories, and you kind of get lost in these stories at times, and it's because it's so captivating. It's so interesting. You might have heard the story he was telling earlier this week about playing Lute Olson back whenever he was at Washington State, and mentioned how he would face Arizona and they would kill Washington State because they didn't have the horses that back whenever he was at Washington State. But I do his coaches shows too, and he'll start getting these stories where I'm just, he'll finish the story and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to ask a question again. I'm still thinking about that story. But his wisdom, but also the work ethic. You go to his practices and he demands you working at your highest level. And if you're not going to do that, you're not going to be successful in his program. And, I'm an outsider. Yeah, I do the radio, but I'm not, running the plays. I'm not, doing the, running the lines and stuff like that. But you see the work ethic that they have, and it's like, okay, this is what it takes to be successful. You could probably apply this to other areas of life. So I think that he has a lot of wisdom. I think he has a lot of life wisdom. I think I haven't seen every coach do their thing, but I can't imagine that there's many better than Kelvin Sampson. In my mind, he's a Hall of Famer.
Jeremy Branham is the voice of the Houston Cougars. Jeremy, only one loss in conference play. It was that home game a couple Saturdays ago to Texas Tech. What stood out to you about the way Texas Tech was able to win that game?
That was a crazy game. You had the ejection less than 4 minutes into the game when JT Toppin got the leg a little high. Questionable call, controversial call. Totally understand why Grant McCaslin got thrown out of that game. Toppin, who had 40-something in the game earlier this week, it completely changed what Texas Tech was going to do. It also changed everything that Houston was planning to do defensively and maybe even offensively, trying to attack them. But, Texas Tech got the wrong side of that. They lost their best player. And maybe it changed the way the game was officiated the rest of the way. But Houston didn't feel like they played their best. They didn't feel like they defended their best. They also felt, they had a free throw. They had a front end of a 1-and-1 late in the game up by 3 that if they make, it's a 2-possession game with 20-something seconds left. Missed it. Darian Williams came down, hit a game-tying 3, tipped your cap there, and then Tech was the better team in overtime. So, yeah, Houston goes back to Lubbock later this month, which will be, I'm sure that will be a lot of fun, just like tomorrow will be a lot of fun.
Does the winner of this conference have 3 losses or less, or 4 losses or more?
The way that the conference backloaded the schedules, I would probably say more. I lean more. It's going to be tight. Yeah, I wouldn't have predicted a team to be 12-1, 13 games into the season either.
Right.
But I will go more. You look at what Houston still has left. Arizona, not an easy game, obviously. Arizona State in Tempe will not be an easy game. You go to Texas Tech. You go to Baylor. You host Iowa State a week from Saturday. You host Kansas, and that's only the Houston side of it. Arizona's got a murderer's row. They're going to Baylor Monday night. Iowa State's got a tough schedule. All these teams are backloaded. So I think it'll be more. I really do.
All right, Jeremy, looking forward to this one, and have a great call, Arizona and Houston.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
And that's the lowdown on the team U of A is about to face on the hardwood. The scouting report has been brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is the ultimate team when it comes to your home's comfort.
Thinking about replacing your heating and air system? It's February at Right Way.
These are some of the slowest months of the year. We have equipment in stock and our crews are available.
And we're including an 80% furnace absolutely free with the purchase of an air conditioning system.
And if that's not enough, we're offering 60 months no interest financing, tax credits up to $2,600, energy efficiency rebates, and 10-year parts and labor warranty.
Call or text 520-200-2422 today or visit rightwayac.com.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or royalkia.com.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the Diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Donna Autumn Nation.
Day in and day out, we're inundated with commercials asking to review your portfolio or telling you to get a second opinion. This is Natalie Fernandez with Meridian Wealth Management, and I want to share the advice I give people every day. Talk to 3 different advisors at 3 different firms. It's important to understand their differences and find someone you can trust. I want Meridian to be one of your 3, and then you will decide who is best for you. To learn more, call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
If you're suffering from back pain and your physician is giving you a back brace or a pain pill or an injection and not explain the process of what you have and how to rehabilitate yourself, then there might be something missing. I'm Tom Corey. I'm a physiatrist here at Desert Sky Spine and Pain. If you're looking to find the root cause of your pain, any pain that's limiting your function, limiting the things that you want to do in life, call us at 520-229-2080 or find us on the web at desertskymedicine.com.
You know it, your neighbors know it, and let's face it, the mailman knows it too. Your yard just isn't what it used to be, but thankfully, Dorado Rock Materials can get you, well, your yard anyway, back to what it once was, and even better. Dorado Rock Materials has just what your yard needs, from decorative rock to boulders and everything in between, brought right to you. And if you need help spreading it, we can help with that too. Dorado Rock Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style, and top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rockin' K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden.
Arizona the ball. Del Orso works it down left side, drives to the baseline underneath. Bounce it to Bryant. Right corner 3 is up and good. There's your first Lexus of Tucson charity 3, courtesy of Carter Bryant.
Carter Bryant likely back to the reserve role today if indeed Trey Townsend can make it a go today after missing the last 2 games with a concussion. We'll get an update on that coming up a little bit later, but Tommy Lloyd, as you heard earlier, say he is expected to be back for the Wildcats this afternoon. It is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day, and we are with you for about another hour and 15 minutes till 11:30, and then Brian Jeffries and Ryan Hansen will take it over. They'll have the call today at noon, number 6 Houston, number 13 Arizona. All right, I want you to hear from Kelvin Sampson because he had some funny stuff to say this week. The first thing you're going to hear him talk about is how old he is. We mentioned that this is a guy that goes all the way back to Washington State, coached against Lute Olson, has been at a number of places, has coached at Washington State, has coached at Oklahoma, coached at Indiana, went to the NBA for a few years because of his collegiate transgressions, and now has been back, how many years is this for him now? Here at this school, I believe 11th year at the University of Houston. How old is Kelvin Sampson?
We average single-digit turnovers. One of the things that makes our game slower is we force teams deep into shot clock, so they're going to stay on offense longer. And longer possessions mean a shorter game. I remember the days before the shot clock, you intentionally played slow against teams you didn't think you could beat, which is one of the reasons they put the shot clock in. Most of the kids in this room don't realize the shot clock used to be 45 seconds. And then it was 35 seconds. See, you weren't even born, Chancellor.
45 is great.
Yeah. Google it, brother. 45 seconds. You tell how old you are when you go, get out of here. No. It's 45 seconds. I coached with a 45-second shot clock. I coached before the shot clock. I coached before the three-point line. That's how ancient I am.
Coach before the three-point line. When was the three-point line? When did that come into play? That was at
86, 87.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you why I know that, because Steve Kerr used to shoot from 40 before the three-point line.
Right.
Then he tore his knee up, sat out his to-be senior year. The year he sat out because of that Pan Am Games injury was the first year the three-point line was in. So Craig McMillan briefly held the record for 3 points made, 3-point percentage and all that. And then Steve Kerr came back, and his senior year was the second year that the three-point line had been in college basketball. I remember back in the day, I mean, so many kids, you talk about kids don't know, there used to be a day, guys, where playing keep away led to titles.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people probably don't know what that means. It's like the North Carolina Tar Heels used to run that four-corner when they got a lead, and there was no shot clock as long as you used to have two guys stand out by the sideline, the half-court line, on either sideline, and then two guys on the baseline on either side of the court, and just play keep away. And that was the way to win games before the shot clock.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, at my senior year, the state championship game in Illinois was Aurora Central against Chicago King, and Chicago King had Marcus Liberty, and Aurora Central had Kendall Gill, and Kendall Gill's team basically they did all they could to try to keep the ball away and just hold it from King, because King had Liberty and a bunch of other 6'8" guys. And it worked for about the first 2.5 quarters, about midway through the third, and then King put a stop to that and ended up winning the state championship. But yeah, that's how teams absolutely used to win back in the day. We talked about the Trey Townsend situation. Every team is going through injuries. Kelvin Sampson this week said, "Look, I am a coach, not a doctor."
Y'all ask a lot of questions about dudes that are hurt. I noticed that. But y'all betting on the game? Huh? Y'all got some gambling in y'all's backgrounds? I mean, I'll go to, honest to God, Brett, I have a press conference. First, there's questions about who's injured and who's not. Matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop coming. I'm going to send John Houston. He's the trainer. I ain't the trainer. I got a whistle, man. I ain't got a stethoscope.
2-drink minimum.
Kelvin Sampson, he's here for the weekend. Make sure you tip your folks working at the arena tonight. All right, now this one's a little bit longer, but I mentioned this one earlier. He absolutely picks apart his beat reporter. And I have to get this guy's, see if I can get his name here real quick. His full name, I didn't look it up. But apparently, if you think Tommy Lloyd goes after Bruce Pascoe, listen to Kelvin Sampson go after this guy, Chris, who writes, I believe, Chris is, I'm not sure of his last name. We'll get his name. But anyway, listen to Kelvin Sampson go after his beat reporter, Chris.
Kelvin, the efficiency, 17 assists, turning those turnovers into 28 points. What does that say about this group?
You ask me that every game. I mean, literally, you ask the same question every game. No, actually, you spread it around. You normally ask that, then you go, you scored 19 points on offensive rebound. What does it say about your group? You know the answer. Okay, there. No. You asked the question. I get to talk now. What do you think the answer is, Chris?
What do I think the answer is?
Because you've asked it 100 times. What do you think the answer is?
No one cares what I say.
Yeah, but that's like I'm drowning over here, and you're telling me the water's wet. Okay, so let's start over. Ask me the question again.
The efficiency you guys played with, especially offensively, and turning those turnovers into points. I mean,
yeah.
What does that do for you guys?
It's a big part of our unscripted points. Against this league is unforgiving. There's so many good teams, talented players. I mean, everybody's talented. So you're not going to win on the offensive end. So we preached 3 areas, and we call them unscripted points. Points off turnovers, offensive rebounds, second chance points, and then the third one is fast break points. Those are points you can't script. So I think it was Saturday at Colorado. If I'm not mistaken, Joseph, you and Chris probably know this. I think we had 18 points off second chance points. 18. So it really is our oxygen. It makes us who we are. There's some teams that are so gifted offensively that they can run their stuff and execute, and they're really good at that. But the problem is on nights when their balls don't go in, they're not going to win. So our formula around here for a long time has not changed. How many years you been following us, Chris?
Probably 8 times.
Yeah. So you weren't here in 2014-15, right? So here's what I would say about people that weren't here when we started. They don't have a complete understanding of who we are. You just showed up last year, or this year, or 2 years ago. You have no idea who we've been and where we came from. But this has been a long time coming and developing this group. But what really helps? What really helps is having great kids to coach, because at the end of the day, it's all on them. Milos, we kind of freed Milos up the second half to go make a play, quit running a play. Terrence was awesome Saturday, and he thought there was a comma after that game, which just continued, right? He didn't realize there's a period, and a capital letter starts a brand new sentence or a new paragraph. You have to stop and start. His first shot tonight, I mean, holy smokes. That was a 30-footer from 23 feet. I mean, I've seen some air balls, but that one shot out of a cannon. As soon as it left his hands, I just hope it didn't hit one of our kids in the head. I mean, that was the worst air ball in the history of the game. I mean, at what point when you released that did you realize, oops?
When I released it, I did.
But you knew it wasn't short, right?
Yeah, I knew.
Okay, good. If you had said, I think that's a little short, would have probably had a problem. But at least you knew it was long.
Oh, man, Kelvin Sampson. You ask that question every time. Oh, man, every coach needs a good beat reporter foil. And Kelvin clearly has his, and whoever that gentleman, Chris.
That's like I'm drowning over here, and you're telling me the water's wet.
All right, let's find out who the Cougar is that's going to get underneath the Wildcats' skin today.
Who is today's pest of the game? 1 second. Got it at the buzzer. The pest of the game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at bepestfree.com.
All right, it is your pest of the game. I think, guys, I'm going to go with the young man off the bench, Terrence Arsenault. He's gotten a chance to do some starting as of late, just due to some injuries, and has really come up. He's a Texas kid out of Beaumont, 6'6", 205 pounds, redshirt sophomore, and again, can do a number of things for this team. Not necessarily a three-point shooter, but a guy that can get to the basket for sure, and also plays pretty good defense in this scheme on this defensive team. So I'm going to go with Terrence Arsenault as my pest of the game today.
Well, my pest of the game is the whole team. Yeah, I just said that, but the whole team, man. And you see the way these guys play. I mean, that's what coach recruits, a bunch of pests. They're not the biggest guys. They're not the strongest guys. They're not the guys that look like the best basketball players, but he finds guys that are willing to duke it out. And I'm going to go with Emmanuel Sharp. I'm going to go with Emmanuel Sharp. I was going to say L.J. Cryer, but I'm going to go with Emmanuel Sharp, man, because, again, he's a guy that's lethal behind that three-point line, and as a defender, he doesn't need any help.
I'm with Kelvin. I think the whole team is really the answer. But because we're picking a single player, I'll go with the guy who really gets that offense going. That's Milos out of Las Vegas because – he's averaging about 5 assists a game, and that's a team that is not traditionally going to put up your 70, 80 points, Kelvin. Right. So a guy who can get in, find his teammates consistently for easy buckets is a guy you got to watch out for because we all know it's going to be a low-scoring game. We all know it's going to be a very defensive-intensive game. So outside of the guys who can knock down open shots, the guy who gets that ball to them in those positions, in that shooting pocket, is a big problem. You can't let him get going and get his teammates feeling good about their shooting. So, yeah, that's my guy today, Milos Uzan.
Oh, ho-hum, just coming off another the Doug McDaniel performance. You get another fabulous point guard in Milos Uzan. He is the Big 12 leader, and he's third in the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio, averaging just over 4 per ball game. He has 17 assists and only 1 turnover in Houston's last 3 games. Let's hear Kevin Sampson on his point guard, Milos Uzan.
Give him the credit. Don't give it to me. I mean, he chose to come here for those reasons. What we do is give him permission to be good. He plays with, when you're playing between Terrence and Emmanuel and LJ, and you've got JoJo and J1, if you're a first-year guy, there's a tendency to come in and just want to, blend in. But, there's games where he's going to have to impose his will on the game. And I say that because he's good enough.
A transfer from Oklahoma, Milos Uzan. And he talked this week just about trying to fit in and find his game, and if it's difficult for him to be aggressive in this offense.
I wouldn't say it's difficult. Most of the time I'm just trying to do what the defense gives me. And I feel like my teammates just make it a lot easier for me. There are a lot of guys who can space the floor out and get to my spots. So, no, I wouldn't say it's difficult. It's just coaching them or challenging me to do it more.
Yeah, it's a great pickup for them. I mean, this is a kid that started all 32 games last year for the Oklahoma Sooners.
So important because if you think about it, it's like a running back on a team that's trying to run the ball, 80% of the time, Kelvin. If that guy's going to put the ball on the ground, then you can't have him back there. And this is a team in Houston who's trying to hold their opponents under 60. And if you're trying to play those low-scoring games, turnovers are premium because possessions are premium. So you got to have guys who take care of the ball. That assist-to-turnover ratio is exactly what Coach Sampson wants, because you got to have a guy, Kelvin, who does not throw the ball around all loose if the possessions are so premium.
All right, let's take a quick look while we have an opportunity. There's a lot going on around college basketball today. There was some thought that maybe ESPN Gameday might be coming here, but of course, when you have number one playing number two for the first time ever in the Iron Bowl, that was never going to be an opportunity. They are in Alabama today for that particular game. Let's give you your scoreboard for today.
Let's take a look at what's happening around the rest of the country. The college basketball scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
All right, everything today in the Big 12, or everything in the Big 12, I should say, is today. There are no Sunday games this week in conference play. TCU is at Arizona State. Sun Devils looking to, try to capitalize some momentum off their fabulous performance in Lubbock, even though they did not win that game. West Virginia will travel to Baylor. Baylor looking to bounce back off their loss from the Cougars. Houston Cougars, they're 7-6. Texas Tech, number 12 in the country, is at Oklahoma State today. They are 10-3, are the Red Raiders. Central Florida visits Colorado. Buffalo still without a win in 13 conference games. Cincinnati on the road at number 10, Iowa State. Iowa State 9-4. BYU back home hosting Kansas State. Kansas State looking to win for a 7th straight time. BYU, actually both those teams are 7-6. And 8-5, number 17 Kansas is on the road at Utah today. We mentioned number 1 versus number 2. That's the big game of the day. It'll be the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers, and that game is in Tuscaloosa today, tipping off at 2 o'clock local time. That is a quick check of your scoreboard.
The college basketball scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
All right, coming up, we'll revisit some of what Tommy Lloyd had to say in DK with TL. It is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. My name is David Kelly, along with Kelvin Efon and JW Madden. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290. Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is getting you closer to tip-off. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 2 of our pregame show is brought to you by Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Recon Auto Detail, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking K, a master plan community designed by nature, University Termite and Pest Control, and by Meridian Wealth Management, wealth well managed, life well lived.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or royalkia.com.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Our beautiful Arizona winter weather brings cooler overnight temperatures, which means some of you are now seeing your vehicle's low-pressure warning light. Colder overnight temperatures can lower your tire's pressure just enough to trigger a warning light. But don't worry, many times the solution is simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. Then get back to enjoying the fantastic winter weather. If adding the air doesn't do the trick, stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with the low-pressure warning light, we fix those too. Mention this radio offer for free installation with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor. We'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tires absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get your car road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. So call ahead, make an appointment online, or just drop by. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Did you know collecting sports cards is one of the fastest growing hobbies around? Whether you're looking to start or expand your collection, Showtime Cards is your ultimate destination. As one of the leading card shops in the country, they've been serving our community for over 25 years with the best in sports cards and trading card games. From rare finds to the latest releases, Showtime Cards has it all. Check them out at ShowtimeCards.com or visit them today at 5801 East Speedway. And discover why collectors everywhere trust Showtime Cards for their passion.
Make the right choice for your home when it comes to windows and doors. For more than 20 years, the Window Depot has provided the best price and biggest inventory on in-stock windows and doors. The Window Depot is open to the public, so whether you're a homeowner or a contractor, you can shop the enormous warehouse. Browse the shelves with over 1,000 vinyl windows, interior and patio doors, and skylights in several varieties and sizes available to go home today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, best price, biggest inventory.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Accidents cause hassles as big as the Grand Canyon.
So we're hitting the road to spread the word about the bird.
The Eagle at Goldberg and Osborne.
Freeway fiasco in Flagstaff.
Hurt in Havasu.
Totaled in Tucson.
No worries. The Eagle has offices across the state. From Kingman
to Sierra Vista, where they fight hard to get you more.
So relax and ride on.
Because the bird is the word.
Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THEEAGLE.com.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps. Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Crossover, driving right, Love, dish it underneath. Carter Bryant will slam it home.
Beautiful drive and drop there by Love. He needs to be aggressive. He gets a lot of attention. Beautiful pass for Carter for the two-handed flush.
Let's take a look at the Right Way rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, we've got 1 hour to go with us. It is getting closer to game time here in Tucson. Number 6, Arizona. Number 6, Houston. Hopefully we can get to number 6 at some point. Number 6, Houston. Number 13, Arizona. Coming up on this final hour of our show, it's best bets time. Arizona, a 1.5 point underdog in this game, over under 138.5 today. Troy Hutchinson will join us with your view from courtside. It's brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. We'll review a little bit of what Tommy Lloyd had to say in DK with TL. Give you your keys to the game, starting lineups, and a whole lot more as we take you right up to 11:30 this morning. All right. We had a chance to hear from Tommy Lloyd a little bit earlier, and I want to go back and revisit 2 of the things he said in my conversation with him at the press conference yesterday. First, I want you to rehear what he said when I asked him about Anthony Dell'Orso.
Tommy, you didn't give Delly a whole lot of minutes in the second half. How do you gauge when you've got a player like him that's giving you some aggressiveness at the offensive end, but at the same time maybe is struggling at the defensive end?
He's got to play better, and Delly knows that. We've talked about it. We need Delly shooting. We need Delly to be a catch-and-shoot player. I don't need Delly playmaking as much. I need Delly. I think one of the best things he can give us is an influx of shooting. And he has done that in stretches. And now, he's at a pivotal moment in his career. As a developing player, you're at a higher level. The stakes are high. You got to figure out what you got to do to be effective and thrive at this level. And Deli can really shoot the ball. And obviously, shooting isn't one of our strengths overall as a team. It's one of his. Please give us more shooting.
Well, interesting there, guys, because we thought, and in a lot of instances this season, when he has taken Deli out of the ball game, it's because of the defense, what's happening at the defensive end. And I want to go back to that before, because, again, I said I was going to go back and I wanted to just kind of watch, some of the defensive things that were happening early in the game. First of all, he was guarding Doug McDaniel at the beginning of that game. Well, why? I didn't understand that. Like, we've seen times this year where Tommy puts his best defenders, like Caleb or somebody else, on a player like that. I didn't, and I wish I had seen that before I went in there, because I watched it last night, went back and watched it last night. I would have asked him, why in the world was Deli guarding Doug McDaniel at the beginning of the ball game?
Well, I thought it was because you put Caleb Love on the shooter. Caleb Love basically shut the shooter down. I don't think he made a three the whole game. I think people didn't give him any credit for that. But that was something that I noticed the whole time. That shooter, Caleb Love, was sticking chest to chest to him, just like I had said in the pregame, what we needed to do against him. And then I think Jaden Bradley was on the other aggressive guard. So you had to find somewhere to put him. You put him on the point guard, thinking that the point guard would just distribute, but they was just looking for the matchup. And so no matter where he went, they were going to attack him.
You also got to factor in that, like we talked about in the post, K-State is a very awkward team to match up against. Why? They got a 6'10 combo shooting guard who handles the ball a lot, Coleman Hawkins, right? So when you're talking about having to match up with the 6'10 guy who's going to be operating a lot on the perimeter and likes to shoot outside shots, all of your matchups defensively get a little bit scrambled, Kelvin, because you got to have length on that guy. He's 6'10". So you got to have somebody who likes to shoot 23-footers. So you have to have somebody out there to challenge that shot. I think mostly those matchups early were due to Townsend being out and the lineup being scrambled and having to deal with Coleman Hawkins in the perimeter as well. I do have the play, though, that got him pulled. You ready?
Yeah.
This was 50 seconds into the second half after 20 minutes of being able to talk with the coaching staff about adjustments they wanted to make. This is why Deli got pulled.
Del Orso with the ball, top of the circle. His pass stolen away. McDaniel on a breakaway. He'll go down and lay it in.
Yeah, once again, there's the turnover bug.
Live ball that led directly to a bucket for Kansas State. That was 50 seconds into the second half.
Yeah. And then when you talk about, obviously, what Tommy said there, it's clear. Deli creating is not what they want from him. They want him to shoot the basketball. And again, that's been a little bit of a problem of late. He's missed his last 11 three-point shots. So I guess, and this goes back to, it's almost a contradiction of my thinking, because it goes back to what I was talking about. It's like, okay, if you're not shooting the ball well, try to create other shots for yourself. But clearly, Tommy says that's not what we want from him. I don't want him. Now, granted, because his first basket was a real nice, kind of created, dribbled around, took a little, fade away 6-footer in the middle of the lane. I thought it was a really nice play. But clearly, they want him patrolling that arc to give them that length that they need in this offense.
Real quick, again, it's not that Deli can't do it. It's that other guys on the team can do it much better than he can do it on the court. So what he's really talking about is, it doesn't matter if Del Orso's missed his last 23s. He's the best shooter on the team in catch-and-shoot situations. So what have we seen from those 13 misses from Deli? Quick twitch, shooting with a defender in his area. If they drive, kick, keep the defense off balance, KJ's in the lane, Caleb Love's in the lane, JB's in the lane, moving the ball around, moving the defense around, inevitably it's going to get back to somebody who's not going to have a defender within 5 feet of him. If that's Deli and he sets his feet and shoots confidently, he's going to knock that shot down. I don't know how many, Kelvin, open, calm, set your feet, bend your knees, and shoot a shot Deli's gotten more recently. Seems like he's been shooting off catch, quick twitch type stuff, maybe even a couple of dribble threes that he's taken in these last 13, 14. He just needs to settle in, find that Steph rhythm, find the open space that the defense isn't, and just knock those shots down.
And that's another time where I say, run him a play. Run him a play to put him in those spots where he's in a guy that we setting screens and getting some of these tough defenders off of him that are denying him to catch and shoot three. Let's run some screens with the bigs or whatnot, have him come off a double screen with two of the bigs and see if he clears up for a catch and shoot. He's trying to figure it out. He's trying to have to figure it out, and in figuring it out, he tries to put the ball on the floor a couple times to make a play, and then that's when things go wrong. Basically what Coach wants is if he doesn't have the catch and shoot, it's almost like the thing you hear Steph Curry always say. It's a grenade if you keep it in your hand more than 0.5 seconds when it's dealt. Also, either he has to catch and shoot it or he needs to swing it to the other guy and cut through to the other side and look for the ball to come back to him. That's what Coach wants out of him right now if he wants more minute. He's not going to allow him to put it on the floor and make ball handling mistakes, and that's something Dale also has to adjust. He's not even saying, hey, I understand a few things on defense because we should help you. Some of those straight line drives that he got beat on, the guys didn't really help him much.
Yeah,
right?
at all.
Yeah, at all. Let's go there. Like, didn't help him at all. So that's not just on him. That's on the help side defense as well. He can't give away straight line drives like that. He has to bump the guys off of their line like we get bumped off of ours. Right. It's allowed in this league. So but with both of those put together, that's where the problem arises at. So either catch and shoot, swing the ball. Don't put the ball on the floor a lot of times. And as you notice, that's what Love was doing earlier in the year. If he didn't have the three, he swung the ball. A lot of times he shot it because that's what Coach wanted from him at that time. So now he gets a chance to probe a little bit more. But I just think Dale also has to adjust a little bit more to what Coach is asking him to do.
All right, let's hear from the head coach on the second question, which was about KJ Lewis and his propensity at times to turn the ball over.
When you look at, obviously, KJ and all that he gives you defensively, but at times has turned it over in some unusual situations, is that just a matter of a young guy, maybe the game speeds up at times too much for him and he makes those types of mistakes?
We probably could look at every turnover independently and try to assess it. KJ's a really good player. And listen, guys make mistakes. One thing KJ consistently does, he outperforms his mistakes. And so there's no such thing as a perfect basketball player. It just doesn't exist. There's not a perfect coach, not a perfect person, definitely not a perfect basketball player. But when you have somebody who plays with great effort and impacts the game in so many ways, and they make a few mistakes, you're living. And obviously we're coaching him and trying to help him with some of those mistakes. He's listening to us, trying to fix some of those mistakes. But KJ outperforms any negative thing he does here and there. He outperforms it every game.
Kelvin Ifon, I don't ever have a problem with KJ when he's trying to make something happen and maybe the ball gets away from him. But the whole jumping in the air with no place to go and then make a decision and throwing it in the middle of the court like happened in that K-State game, that's one of those plays that you try to teach. Kelvin, you've taught players as young as junior high, and that whole thing about never ever jump in the air without understanding exactly what you're about to do. You might have a guy open in the corner, you're going to use your eyes to fake somebody out, get in the air, and you know exactly where you're going. But that particular turnover is just a getting caught up in the moment and not really not really having a plan before you get airborne, and that's a recipe for problems.
Well, and I think he just, he essentially, what I said after the show the other night was, look, I'm at this point, I'll live with it. I'll live with those turnovers because he gives you so much else. And I think essentially that's what Tommy Lloyd was saying right there. It's like, look, yeah, he's a young player. He's going to turn the ball over at times. We're trying to teach him the things that he's not supposed to do, but he does so much of the other stuff well that we're not going to take him off the floor. We're going to live with what he's doing out there.
It's very simple math. I mean, if he was a negative, he wouldn't be out there.
Right.
Of course, KJ Lewis is outrageously positive. Anytime he's on the court, he's making positive plays on both sides of the court. And if you clean up a couple of those sloppy, unnecessary turnovers, it's even better.
That's why Robert, who called the other night, you got to live with it. He said he's the worst ball handler out that's on the team. He does so many other things.
I think what he actually said was, I don't want to see KJ Lewis ever handle the ball ever again.
I think he said something like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which I I was thinking to myself, well, you should start watching U of A because he's going to be handling the ball because Coach trusts him with the ball for a reason. There's a reason why he's a backup point guard. He could have easily been there also. It could have easily been
Caleb.
Who?
Caleb.
I mean, but it's KJ for a reason, and it's because Coach understands that he's an unselfish player. He's a player that's playing to win. Sometimes I think his turnovers happen. Watch what I'm going to say, guys. It's because the other team doesn't believe he's a great scorer, and so they're playing him to pass. That's why those mid-range jump shots have been coming open for him, and it's been great to see that he's been knocking them down. I'm glad he's not settling for the three. He was selling for the three for a little while there, which is, if I was the other team, would be exactly what I would want from him, because him driving and slashing and penetrating, dropping the ball off the guys, or even that mid-range jumper is kind of deadly. So I just think that it's a thing of where he has to stay aggressive. Right? I think sometimes when you see those passes that he's turning over, he's totally looking to pass, and I think the defense sees it as well.
All right, let's knock out these the best bets. What the Wildcats look like on the big board at the Desert Diamond Casino Sportsbook.
Tucson, what are some of today's best bets? Will the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at some of today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, Arizona, plus 1.5. I'm going to go with the Wildcats. I think they're going to win this game today. I feel good about it. I got a good feeling in the desert here. Arizona plus 1.5 is the play for me. J-Dub.
Yeah, same. It's a low-scoring game, I think, but Arizona finds a way to get it done at the end. They win by 2-3.
Kelvin.
Yeah, I totally agree. If they won the game the other night against Kansas State, there's no way I would be saying they win today. But losing that game on the road, I think these guys are locked in, and I think they want this one back.
Can they press the number today, or is it going to be under 138.5?
I think just over.
Just over. Ooh, just over. Kelvin.
I'm going to go under.
Yeah, so am I. I think it's going to be a low score. I think Arizona will win, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring game today. All right, that's what we think is going to happen in terms of the best bets.
Those are today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, it is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. We will check in with Troy Hutchinson at the arena. Your view from courtside is next. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290. Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne, the Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Door and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management, wealth well managed, life well lived.
Quick, she's over here. I don't know. I just found her like this.
Yeah, she's banged up, but she'll be fine.
Oh, thank God. What can I do?
Just need the keys. And, sir?
Yeah?
Your car's gonna be fine.
Thank you.
Mobile detailing from Recon Auto Detailing. Tired of wear and tear on your vehicle, or just tired of cleaning it yourself? We'll come to you. Book with us online and see why we have over 1,100 5-star reviews. Recon Auto Detailing. ReconDetail.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rockin' K, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Go Wildcats! As a new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community. We are looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, the Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
Honey, our yard looks like a jungle. It's full of weeds, and the neighbors are complaining, you know.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using just doesn't work. Not to mention, I don't have the time.
You know, it's not just the weeds. I'm also seeing ants and the spider, scorpion. I saw a scorpion, and I think there's a pack rat living in the garage.
I get it.
It's scary.
I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today and get rid of them all.
You're the best, honey.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
JT Auto, where customers are family. Trust your vehicle to JT Auto professional and reliable automotive repair and maintenance services. JT Auto is conveniently located off Fort Lowell and Country Club. Open Monday through Friday. JT Auto is a full-service auto shop with satisfaction guaranteed, offering you the best in tires and wheels, auto repair, oil changes, computer diagnostics, suspension and brake service, and heating and AC. Bring your car to JT Auto, where customers are family. 623-7066. That's 623-7066.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Donna Autumn Nation.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
It's cold outside and you need safe, reliable heat for you and your family. For a limited time, Picturock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing is offering a free furnace with the purchase of a qualifying HVAC split system. For fast, reliable service, call Picturock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing at 520-492-0748 or picturockscooling.com.
Picturock's Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Your home for everything Arizona Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290, KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden.
It's way more physical, like referees almost let you fight.
Gritty boy.
It's time now for us to take you down to front row of the arena. A view from the courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, serving Southern Arizona for more than 25 years.
All right, let's head on over to McHale Center and check in with our guy, Troy Hutchinson from Go AZ Cats. He has just arrived at the arena for today's big game between the Wildcats and the number 6 Houston Cougars. Good morning, Troy. Have you had a chance to put any eyes on Trey Townsend yet?
Yeah, I'm sitting here at courtside right now, and Trey is warming up, going through the drills, and looks like he's good to go.
All right, so tell me, Troy, just kind of, there's this Trey is kind of has been a polarizing player this season. Where do you stand on where he best fits within this rotation moving forward?
I think if you have him in the starting lineup, that's consistent veteran leadership out there. I know the numbers aren't what Arizona fans expected, and he's had his highs and lows, but when you look at the bench and you're able to pull KJ Lewis and Carter Bryant and Henry Vasar off the bench, that might be one of the best benches in America. And having those 4 duos defensively, I think that really gets Arizona going. So I would stick with the starting lineup. I want to tweak with it. It's been working, and I just keep rolling with it.
Troy Hutchinson joining us from Go AZ Cats. He is at McHale Center as we speak ahead of today's game between number 6 Houston and the Wildcats. Talking about KJ Lewis, and we've been talking about him a little bit this morning. I asked Tommy yesterday just about some of the uncharacteristic turnovers we have seen from him in recent games. And the thing that I said after the game the other night, Troy, was I'm at this point, it bothers me that he turns the ball over, mind-numbingly sometimes, but I'm willing to live with it because he does so many other things well. He gives you so much else besides that. How have you viewed these times when he has uncharacteristically given the ball away to the other team?
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating because usually it's off the dribble trying to get into the paint, but he's one of the better players that Arizona has that can do that. But you know what? Offensively, I think what you get from him, if you can get that 9 to 12 points somewhere in there, you're going to live with it, especially since he can give you 5 assists with maybe 3 or 4 turnovers or 6 assists as well. But you look at the defensive side of the ball, he might be one of the best defensive players in the country. I think he's probably the best defensive player in the Big 12. I think he's probably at the top of the list of Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year.
Wow.
And I think, you know what, if you look at Arizona under Tommy Lloyd, I think he's up there with Dalen Terry and Christian Coloco for one of the better defenders he's ever had here at Arizona.
Wow. What do you think about that, Kelvin?
Yeah, he's definitely getting himself, amongst those names, and he's still got some time to solidify that.
Troy Hutchinson joining us, goazcats.com. Is there anybody on this Houston team? Obviously, they are a huge defensive team. Is there anybody on this defensively on this Houston team that you would put in that conversation for Defensive Player of the Year in this conference?
LJ Cryer, a steady point guard. I know, he's able to run the system at the guard position, even though you have Usain as well. But just a really steady player that is really tough at the perimeter for Houston, and he's kind of one of those guys that gets it going, and obviously they have a lot of strength down low in the post, too.
Troy Hutchinson, our guest. It is your view from courtside. It's brought to you by Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates. Kaiser has been serving Arizona for more than 25 years. Before we go back to Troy, let's pause here 10 seconds and allow for station identification. You're listening to Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day.
Your home for everything Arizona Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290, KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station.
It is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. I am chatting with Troy Hutchinson from Go AZ Cats. Troy, obviously, when you look at this stretch run, it's not going to get any easier. Cats took a fall in Kansas State. They've got Houston tonight. They got to make a quick turnaround. It's almost like the old Pac-12 days, one day in between. But this time you got to play at home and then go on the road to Baylor. What's going to be important, do you think, for this team down the stretch if they want to have a chance to solidify a first ever Big 12 title?
Yeah, I think most importantly is you have to win today. It's the only matchup between the two schools. You got to keep pace with Houston, and then from that point on, just win the games that you're going to be favored in. Baylor's going to obviously be tough. Kansas and Iowa State, but there's winnable games along the way. You can't have the K-State slip up. You just got to win the games that you are the favorite in and keep pace with Houston.
Absolutely. You mentioned this is the only meeting, so tiebreaker, obviously a big opportunity for Arizona to solidify that with a victory here today. As you sit and look at warm-ups right now, Troy, anything else standing out to you in terms of just the guys as they go through their preparations today?
Just the energy by Henry Baystar. This whole entire season, he's been one of the Energizer bunnies off the bench for Arizona, trying to dunk everything around the rim. That's something you didn't see 2 years ago, obviously, and last year he was hurt. But I don't know if Arizona's had a finisher at that height in a while that just tries to slam everything through their heat.
Yeah, don't let Larry Markin let you hear finisher. He might get a little bit mad at you on that one. I think that was his old nickname here. In terms of Vesar, and we've seen Vesar and Awaka together. We were talking about that a little bit earlier in the show. What would have been your impressions about when they're on the floor? Should they be on the floor more with each other? What are some of the things you think they can do when they are out there?
I think there's special situations where you should have them on the floor when you're going up against a team like from the Big Ten or SEC that has two bigs out there because they're able to stretch you, with Henry being able to play the three-point line and still bump and grind as well. But when you play more physical, more up-tempo teams and smaller teams, I think one at a time and having that in and out rotation is key, keeping guys fresh and keeping them ready to go down the stretch.
We saw at Kansas State, Troy, another instance kind of at the end of that first half where the Wildcats got into one of those scoring droughts that they've had at times this season. I believe it was the final 4.5 minutes of that first half. What do you think they need to do when they get into those instances to get themselves out of that and try to get a bucket?
I think it's very simple. Easier said than done, obviously, but work your way into the paint. I think when you see Arizona goes through those scoring droughts, you start seeing them settle for three, taking bad, quick jump shots. Just work your way in the paint. Maybe, I don't want to say work through a Waka, but get them some easy buckets. Get Henry Uvesar some easy buckets. Just to see the ball go through the hoop and get everybody ramped up again.
We saw, obviously, limited minutes for Anthony Del Orso in that game on Tuesday. Tommy said, came out yesterday and said, look, Deli's got to shoot the basketball. We don't need him out there creating. He's got to be the shooter. But it seems like, Troy, he's lost a little confidence in the last 4 games because that shot hasn't been falling. Is it as simple as, look, you're a shooter. Yeah, you've missed some, but you got to keep shooting.
Yeah, you got to shoot through some problems. Obviously, Caleb Love has shown he can do that, shooting through problems, but not at that high a number. But you got to take open shots. There's sometimes where he passed up an open look for an extra pass. That's great and everything, but you're the best shooter on the team. You have to knock those down, take those shots with confidence. But I also think there's games where in this conference, it's such a physical conference, and defense is at a premium. There's just not that wasn't a Del Orso game. I think you needed the defense out there, but unfortunately that hurts you with the shooting next times too.
Who wins this conference, Troy?
I'm going to go Houston. I think Arizona finishes second, maybe a game or two behind. I think they have a tough road with Iowa State and Kansas on the road to close out the season. But it's going to be close. But I think Houston finishes number 1, Arizona 2, with Texas Tech right behind them.
And in terms of if Arizona is to I guess maybe in terms of the conference tournament, and once they get to Kansas City, what do you think we're going to see different there? Is in terms of the conference part of this and the conference play, do you think we're going to see a different type of conference tournament than what we saw over the years in Las Vegas with the Pac-12?
Yeah, outside of last season with the Pac-12, you could pretty much pencil in, hey, Arizona's going to be playing UCLA or Oregon or whoever was number 2 at the time, and we're going to see what happens in the championship game. I think this conference tournament, you're going to see a lot of upsets. You're probably going to have somebody from the first day make it to the Final Four at the conference tournament. It's going to be tough. It's going to be gritty. And anyone can win it. I wouldn't be surprised at any one of the top 5 winning the conference in the conference tournament.
Gritty. That is the word of the year, I think.
Gritty, gritty, gritty.
Gritty, gritty, gritty. Indeed. Hey, Troy, I always appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. We'll look forward to doing it again here in the near future.
Sounds good. Have a good day, guys.
Troy Hutchinson from Go AZ Cats.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, serving Southern Arizona for more than 25 years.
Ready to score a new vehicle? Whether you are looking for a new car, truck, or electric vehicle, at Royal Kia, we know exactly what you want. A quality vehicle at a great price and to be treated fairly. We stand by our transparent online pricing, offer a 72-hour buyback guarantee, and you work with our no-pressure, non-commissioned sales staff. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $589 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus, or royalkia.com.
Hey, man. It's me, your furnace, man. Hey, can I get a light here, man? I know we live in Arizona, so I understand I'm not, like as cool as your air conditioner. But I still need a tune-up at least once a year, man. So get the best in town, man. Goodfellas AC, bro. Hey, anybody smell that, man? I swear it wasn't me. Okay, it was me.
Good service, good prices, Goodfellas. GoodfellasAC.com.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care.
Our beautiful Arizona winter weather brings cooler overnight temperatures, which means some of you are now seeing your vehicle's low pressure warning light. Colder overnight temperatures can lower your tire's pressure just enough to trigger a warning light. But don't worry, many times the solution is simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. Then get back to enjoying the fantastic winter weather. If adding the air doesn't do the trick, stop by any of our 14 area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with the low pressure warning light, we fix those too. Mention this radio offer for free installation with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor. We'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tires absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get your car road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. So call ahead, make an appointment online, or just drop by. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats basketball radio broadcast. 2 powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
I love my weekend rides across Arizona. I travel with all the protection I need. Helmet, gloves, leathers, and the Eagle. Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle fights hard to help injured riders across the state. Whether we're cruising through Carefree, slow riding in Sedona, or breezing through Bisbee, they find you doctors, manage medical bills, and get you back on your bike with the most money possible. Injured riding? The bird is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THE-EAGLE.com.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
For over 30 years, Tucson has been putting its trust in First Chiropractic for auto and on-the-job injuries. They're locally owned and a proud sponsor of the U of A radio broadcast. So if you've been injured, make the right choice first.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now, back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Yvonne, and J.W. Madden.
Out to Lewis, 6 to shoot. KJ pull-up jumper, right side is good. That is the shot for KJ Lewis. And makes it a 45-40 Kansas State lead.
All right, final segment of the show before we hand it over to the network, Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Got a lot of folks listening. Want to get to some of their comments here on the social media platforms as well as the text group. This was actually from a few days ago. We never got to it. Our guy Doug said in terms of the 2 teams on Tuesday shooting 3 for 41 from 3, Doug said, I'm at the local gym right now, and I've already made 6 of my first 7 threes. How do a bunch of talented college guys make 3 out of 41? That's our guy Doug from Houston. Or Doug from Tucson, I should say, checking in. Yeah, I don't know, Doug.
Hey, Kelvin, why don't you get out there and put your hand up in Doug's face and see how many of those he makes?
Tell Doug, I bet he won't make 10 out with me on him.
Right. He might not be being defended too much out there at the local gym. That's for sure. Our guy Rich Carrillo checks in. He says Calvin Ifan and Corey Williams are the best college basketball analysts in the business. Matt Muehlbach, second place there. He says Houston wins today, 74 to 68. Our guy Mike Archer checks in. He's a little bit more serious. He says sports can open doors for a lucky few, but education builds the foundation for a lifetime of opportunities. Let's celebrate both, but never underestimate the power of learning. Sports is only a side street to the freeway of success, which is education first. Always appreciate Mike Archer, one of our great veterans and listeners, for checking in. Zona Zealots listening as well. Great information about the ranked teams. We appreciate them checking in with us as well. They run a great website as well, Zona Zealots. Check out all the work that they do too. All right, I want you to hear from Kelvin Sampson one more time. He talked this week about the history of Arizona basketball and the tradition, obviously a former coach at Washington State back in the day, and he went up a lot against Lute Olson.
Hey, Kelvin. Arizona obviously has had a history of success. Just being around the game for a long time, for you personally, what kind of comes to mind when you think about the just the program of Arizona and the fact that here comes another really good program into the conference that's already one of the best conferences, if not the best conference in the entire country?
Well, I thought about that a year ago when they came into the league. I knew, it's kind of like getting, anytime a good team comes into the league, I'm sure a lot of the coaches in this league probably thought the same thing when we came into the league. But I go way back with Arizona. I have I think, somewhat of a special relationship with them. We took over a tough situation in Pullman at Washington State, and that was about the time when Coach Lute Olson was getting the basketball program going at Arizona, and he created a monster. It saddens me that there's a generation of kids that will never know what Arizona basketball was with Lute. I was there with Sean Elliott, Steve Kerr, I think it was Anthony Cook, Tom Tolbert, Craig McMillan, Khalid Reeves, Damon Stoudemire, Chris Mills. They were the program. I mean, they set the bar. UCLA had the name, but Arizona had the program. They were the preeminent program on the West Coast. They were the best program in the West. I didn't dare strive to be like them. I just wanted to get where we could compete with them. They were so far ahead of. There was only a few teams in the Pac-10 at the time. Mike Montgomery was at Stanford. Of course, UCLA was always good. But there were many programs that could touch Arizona for a long, long time. They had great players. They had a great coach. But I think that separated them, that made them so different than any other West Coast school, was their fans. It was like being at a Big Ten school fan-wise, where most of the Pac-10 schools struggled to get fans to the game. Not Arizona. They have this so many traditions down there. But a lot of the coaches in the league may not know the history of Arizona, but I do. The other thing I remember was how nice Lute and Bobby Olson were to Karen and I. Now, we weren't very good. We most of the games with Arizona, we were never in them. We just weren't good enough. But through it all, Lute was always nice, and I get, well, he beat you by 50 every game. No, it wasn't that. He was just a nice man, and Bobby Olson was a class lady. They showed Karen and I how to be professional. When I was 31 years old when I was named the head coach, which tells you a little bit about the program. It's not that I accomplished something. It was just, my first contract at Washington State, I signed a 2-year deal for $82,000. That's $41,000 a year. And I'm sure they thought that that'll give them time to go hire a real coach. Because I certainly didn't deserve to be a head coach in the Pac-10. I was just in the right place at the right time. And going against guys like Coach Olson at Arizona, Coach Miller at Oregon State. Oregon State could play with them when Gary Payton was there. Matter of fact, they beat Arizona when Gary Payton was there. But Arizona, I just always respected Arizona because they were the program when I started out coaching. They were our Duke. They were our North Carolina. They were our Kentucky. That's the level of, that's the shelf that they were on. And, there were so many hard lessons I had to learn as a coach. It wasn't just Arizona beat us, everybody beat us. I had a year where we lost 18 in a row. If in today's climate, with all the platforms for cynicism and negativity and all that stuff that goes on now, I'm sure I would have been fired after my third year, and probably rightly so. We lost 18 in a row. So, but I have fond memories of Coach Olson and Bobby, and always great respect for Arizona basketball.
Yeah, it's great stuff right there from the head coach of the Houston Cougars, Kelvin Sampson. Kelvin Ifan kind of raised his eyebrows at the same thing I did yesterday when I heard that for the first time. 2 years, $82,000 for his first contract.
Yeah, I was like, woo. I'm like, they didn't expect him to be around long. I was like, 2 years, first of all. Like, how do you recruit with 2 years?
Right.
You're like telling the kids, I'll be around for 2 years. But especially in the day and age where you had guys for 4 or 5 years. So you're like a lame duck coach, in that situation. So, yeah, man, kudos. It was smart of him taking that job because now you're a Division I coach and you can get other opportunities after that. But
well, and that's what it's all about. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
But yeah, that was a good start in that conference going against a coach like Coach Olson. Had a chance to see him. But I wanted to speak on what he was saying about Bobby Olson. When I tell you some of the days when I was the maddest at Coach Olson, for some reason that's when Bobby would just give you that hug and that kiss and just remind you that you do matter. I remember being on the plane a few times and she would come back. She would just be so nice to all of us. And we'll be looking at Coach. We'll be still how they coach about something at practice, but Bobby will just kill it all.
All right, keys to the game today. What do the Wildcats need to do to win?
Wildcats fans, our keys to the game are brought to you by Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealer that is different.
All right, guys, for me, it's simple. You got to change the tempo of this game. You got to press the action. I think that's going to be critical today. Only 3 teams have gotten to double digits in fast break points against Houston. Arizona needs to be the 4th. You've also got to press the paint. Force the officials to call fouls. When Arizona wins a lot, it's because they get to the free throw line. I think you got to get to the free throw line 30 times. We know they'll make them, but you got to get there in this ball game. And I think this is a game you can't. You shoot for 2 for 22 from 3 today, you're gonna get blown out. You got to make 3-point shots today to beat this team. Not too many teams to make a lot of threes against them. Arizona has to be one of those teams that does today to get a win.
DK getting good, J-Dub. DK getting good. Okay, so he stole all mine, but I guess I repeat him. Don't be out tough today. You can't be out hustled. That's their way of winning. They want to come in and be physical and try to grind you on defense, force you to move the ball until you turn it over. You have to be physically tough out there today. You have to win the rebounding battle. Houston is a team that loves the offensive rebounder, misses, kick them out for threes. That's when they're most efficient at their three-point shooting, is when they get offensive rebounds. You have to win the rebounding battle to this one. They double the post. So I think we're going to have to play off pick and rolls to get the ball to our bigs, because anything you throw into the blocks is an automatic double. So I think our guys are going to have to play off the pick and roll and try to attack the paint from the guards. And my last one right here is that you have to hit open threes on this team, mid-range jumpers, because they're going to clog the lane up. They're going to be very aggressive. Even when you get by them, guess what they're going to do, DK? Foul you. Mm-hmm. They're going to foul you, force you to go to the line to beat them. The games that they lost the free throw battle. Arizona has to be strong from the free throw line.
Yeah, mine are very similar to you guys as well. I think, number one, possessions are going to be at a premium, so you have to take care of the ball against this Cougars team. Less than 10 turnovers today for the Wildcats. Little loose last time out. clean that stuff up, because that's a team that's going to try to take the ball away from you and take advantage of your mistakes. Number 2, just like you guys both said, you got to meet the physicality of the Houston Cougars. So that means, out rebounding, boxing out, 50-50 balls, all those things. I would love to see Arizona maybe with a +5 or even higher rebounding differential. I think impose your will on the inside. And speaking of which, no matter double team in the post or how physical those guards are on drives, you have to live in the paint against this Houston Cougars team. You have to meet that aggression, force the issue, get 2 feet in the paint for guards, at least 40 points. It's going to be a much lower scoring game than we're used to seeing, but at least 40 points I'd like to see from the Cats. Do not settle for jump shots. Live in that paint. Those are my keys.
All right, and I was waiting. Our guy, Fred Scheib from New Jersey, he checks in with his keys. Block out, block out, block out. There you go.
Wildcat fans, those are our keys to the game. Brought to you by Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different. The foundation of a great basketball team begins with the starting lineup. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Rocking K, a master plan community designed by nature.
All right, Jaden Bradley, 6'3", 200-pound junior guard out of Rochester, New York. Starts at one guard, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Caleb Love, 6'4", fifth year out of St. Louis, Missouri. 16 points, leading scorer, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. Anthony Del Orso, 6'6", junior guard out of Melbourne, Australia. 8 points, shoots 42% from 3, leads the team in that category. Trey Townsend back. We'll see. 6'6" forward out of Oxford, Michigan. 9 points and 4 rebounds. If he can't go, it'll be Carter Bryant, 6'8", freshman forward, I should say, out of Riverside, California. 6 points, 4 rebounds. Your other forward, Toby Awaka, 6'8", out of Hyde Park, New York. 8 points, 8 rebounds. Tommy Lloyd is the head coach. That wraps up our show. Coming up next, number 6, Houston. Number 13, Arizona. You'll hear it right here and on K-Hit 107.5. For J.W. Madden, for Kelvin Ifan, I'm David Kelly. Have a great afternoon. We'll talk to you after the game. Bear down, Arizona.
It's way more physical. Like, referees almost let you fight.
Gritty, gritty, gritty. Gritty, boys.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Aaron Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne, The Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Door and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
If you have old windows, they are probably driving up your energy bills. Upgrade with new windows from the Window Depot. The Window Depot provides unbeatable value and a wide variety of in-stock and custom order windows to fit your style and budget. With our exclusive SI window brand made right here in the USA, you'll get a full lifetime warranty.